We dedicate this season to friend of the pod, Christian Salisbury. A life and talent taken from the Herd way too early. He will be remembered for his speed and agility, but most of all his smile and infectious enthusiasm. If you're able, go to the link in the description and donate to the Christian Salisbury Memorial Fund and help more kids like Christian find their way to professional football. Carry that rock in peace, my friend. You will be missed.
Who it is. This is a brotherhood. And if we stand strong together, we can't be denied. If one of us goes down, we have another, and another, and another that's ready to fight. So let's hit this field and bang them, bang them, bang them. Somebody light me up.
It's time to huddle up. It's the Turf District Podcast. Welcome back to the Turf District, where we huddle up to talk all things Edmonton Elks and the CFL. And we're a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network. I'm Andrew, and that's right, it is Turf District Tuesdays, and we are in the Turf District this evening to talk all things Elks, and we have an amazing group of gang with us tonight to chat. But first, I do want to thank you for tuning in if you're on YouTube Live. If you've downloaded the podcast, thank you so much for downloading the podcast. And you may also be listening to us on Edmonton Sports Talk. The stream is out, and if it's Thursday night at 8, you are listening to us then. And thank you for tuning in. We very much appreciate it. Let's bring in the usual gang first. There they are. One super fan, Mike, to Jantlers. And
there they are.
One Commissioner Kayla. How are you?
Go ahead, Mike. You are beaming.
Well, of course. I mean, come on. After that fourth quarter, that was a pretty exciting time. And getting to watch my 11-year-old running around on the field after with the sea of people that were there. Pretty exciting stuff. He was happiest that he came back with Dylan Mitchell's gloves. So
what?
I don't know if Dylan really wanted to get rid of them, but he got them anyway. So, it pays wearing a 17 jersey sometimes. So.
That's good for him. I think we just need to add something to the feed there. Oh, there's the Queen's wave. That's important.
Yeah, excellent.
Get our waves in. It's very important. All right, let's bring in the rest of the crew because we have a fun one and lots of we're testing the system tonight. We're getting first time we had 4 guests at a time. There they are. They are the crew from Edmonton Sports Talk. Well done. Dustin Neilson, Lieutenant Eric, Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Happy to be here.
This is amazing. Okay, so now the first question is an easy one, and that is, okay, put your hand up if you haven't watched Goonies. And you guys, shame. Can
you believe these guys? I was stunned. I was stunned this morning.
That's the first time I've seen you like truly rattled. That was and I don't blame you. I'm the same.
Every other person that walked in that office today, Tom Gazzola, who else is it? Gene Principe, Jerry Montajon, Marie McCourt popped by later on. Gager was there today. All of them had seen the Goonies, except these 2 guys.
Damn proud. I was taught to be your own person.
Oh,
so
there.
Me and Eric, we're just our own unique people.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, tell us a little bit. The stream went live last Wednesday. So you've been running here for almost a week. Tell us a little bit. How was the launch and how's it going being on online radio? Dustin, I'll start with you.
You want me to take it?
Yeah. I'll work my way around.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of an adventure. I mean, we've had some hiccups along the way, which I think is kind of expected when you start something like this. But we've after the very first day, we got through it, and then we unplugged the entire system and basically did, or is that even maybe the day before?
That was the night before.
That was the night before. It was the night before.
It was 9 o'clock the night before. We were starting at 6 a.m. We unplugged every single cable and plugged it all back in one at a time and tested it. Each time we added one thing, we tested it, and then we added one more and tested it again.
And we still haven't got back to like the original plan, because we've got our main studio. We have 5 cameras set up, and we've only really been confident enough to plug the one back in so far. So as we continue to sort of work out some of the other kinks, then we'll add the second camera and hopefully one day get back up to the 5 that we were hoping for. But overall, I think the support's been really good so far. We've kind of overshot some of the targets that we had for the first month already, which is exciting. And now it's just on us to continue to churn out some good content.
Fantastic. Eric, how do you find it any different than where you guys were before?
Yeah, there's lots of differences thus far. I don't want to get into too many details, but just when you can grab the guy below me here in the square, I think he's below me, he's on my screen, but okay. Matt basically ran the station before, so we basically took the guy that ran the station with us. Dustin's the name and the face, and he's larger than life, and then Tom's the most handsome man in the world. So when I'm stuck with those 3 guys, it's going to be an easy ride, but it's a lot more free. You're kind of, you feel free. I remember the day we got kind of blown out, and I know Dustin was unfortunately away on a golf tournament, and Tom and I were doing the show, and Maddie was there as well, but I felt kind of free, and now we're just kind of, we're free balling it here, and it's great.
Oh, and it's been super fun to listen to. So I've really enjoyed it so far. And of course the constant nasty chat does make it hilarious as well. Matt, what do you feel like as producer? Getting in there doing
just before Maddie chimes in here, I'll say this. He's probably working on something right now.
Yeah.
The guy's probably working on something right now. Let's just say that.
I keep starting new projects and I don't finish them, but I open up new projects because I come up with different ideas for doing different things. One day I'll get them all figured out. It's been wild, we had a great time at 1260 for all the years we had together. We had a great group of people, but doing it just ourselves now and having no one else to answer to but each other, it's awesome. And we're having a lot of fun. And we're pulling like 12, 13-hour days, but it doesn't feel like we're pulling 12, 13-hour days. Like all of a sudden it's 4 or 5 o'clock. And we're like, oh, geez, we've been here for a really long time, but we're having fun. Technical issues are things that bother me. Like I was very worried the night before our launch. And then, of course, at 6 a.m., we have some sort of issue. And I'm crawling on the ground as Dustin and Eric are doing their show. And I'm trying to unplug cables, but not get in the shot. And, we got back and it was great with the audio. And we haven't had the audio issue again. But it's been a lot of fun. It's like we love what we do. We always did at 1260. And now to do it together in our own way and the way we want to do it. It's been a blast, and it's only been a week, but it's been a fun week, and I can't wait to see where else we could take this moving forward. And it's also great just having other people join us and believing in us, the sponsors that we have, but also people like you guys and joining us and friends of VST and the support we've gotten that way.
Oh, it's awesome. Tom, before I let you answer, a couple of comments already for you in the chat. Is it possible that T-Biscuit After Dark is even more handsome than the daytime version? Which I won't answer. I'm going to leave that alone. And the other one is glad T-Biscuit was on time for this tonight. So it's perfect. We did PM just to make sure that would be helpful for you. But tell us what's it been like for you?
I've loved it. I tell people that it's been a daunting summer because a lot of unknowns, but the crew that we have, I mean, Dusty, Eric, Maddie, I trust those guys to the moon and back. Like I would go to war with these guys, to use another metaphor. They're some of the best guys I've ever worked with. And, off the mic, they're some of the best people I've ever worked with too. So for me, it was, what can we do together? And my role kind of stays the same. And I really enjoyed what I was doing, Oilers pre and post game, and being at the rink, being the guy for the station down at the rink. That's kind of been my thing for the last dozen years. And I get to continue with that. And then the EST Hangout has been a really cool surprise. And I think it's kind of been an organic evolution over the last 3 weeks when the idea popped into the guys' minds when we were trying to figure out what do we do in that 9 to 11 slot. But just to watch these guys and to be a small part of what they've created has been an honor. And I think that we've kind of hit with something. It's early days, but I will look back on this time fondly, I think, and say, this was a special time. It was a chaotic time and a hectic time. But the other thing I'd say, guys, like with what we've created, there's no ceiling. It doesn't feel like there's a ceiling. Like Maddie and Eric and Dusty have alluded to, it's kind of we take it as far as we can go. And to see the support that we've gotten early on has been amazing and tremendous. Also credit to Joaquin Gage and Matt Cassian and Sean Bell and Murray McCourt. And then the clients and sponsors that have joined us without even us going to air for a minute has been outstanding. And then now, having been through a week of programming, as we continue to add on friends of EST like yourselves, which is amazing because it's more local content. And we didn't have that when we had ESPN Radio on 1260. I think people finally understand and grasp the concept of what our vision was, and that is a digital radio station with a television component. And we put the signal out and people consume it how they want to. And I think there's been a lot of aha moments for some new listeners and viewers. And it's nice to see. In Canada, we're stuck 5 years behind the US, it feels like, when it comes to technology and how we consume media, and maybe we're part of that corner that's being turned. And that's been it's been exciting, scary, and fun all at the same time.
Outstanding.
Yeah, we certainly know that feeling when we've been doing it ourselves. Right? In such a small little bit. So
yeah, no kidding.
So obviously we're an Elks podcast, so we're always going to bring it around to the football side. So how did you guys either discover the CFL or get into it, or when did you become Edmonton football fans? We'll kind of go backwards, and Tom, we'll start back with you.
Sure. I've loved football since I was a little kid, and I remember being young and not knowing the difference between the NFL and the CFL. And I would wonder why the Eskimos at the time wouldn't be playing against the 49ers, and I would have to ask my dad, I'm like, what do they play against each other? Because I like watching the 49ers. I want to see them against the green and gold. And he's like, well, they're in different leagues. And I remember when the Riders won the Grey Cup in '89, and their helmets had the logo that went all the way around, and I confused them with the Seattle Seahawks and the Seahawks logo, and so like I can vividly remember those days way back when, and then just asking my dad or my uncles to take me to games, and I remember I mean on my dad's side I'm Italian, and the church on the west side of the parking lot, Santa Maria Goretti, I spent all my Sundays there, whether I liked it or not. And I would just stare at Clark Stadium, which was still standing at the time, and look at Commonwealth Stadium and think to myself, man, I wish I was there right now instead of listening to an old Italian guy speaking Italian and things I didn't understand, and then have to go and talk with all the people after and have like my grandma and grandpa take me around, and old people like pull my ears and squeeze my cheeks, and I would just be staring at Commonwealth being like, dude, I wish I was there. And so I finally got to go to games, and I remember going to a Labor Day rematch when I got the coupon at school and having the best time. My dad, my uncles, my brothers, and my cousin came with me, and I was hooked from then on, and I finally was smart enough to figure out the difference, and I've loved the game ever since. And I just love football, to be honest with you. And to be able to go to games and have season tickets myself, I thought that was a big step when I was like 19 or 20 years old and buy them myself. I was like, I'm a man now. I've got season tickets. And even though I've had to cover the team at times, still do when called upon. And of course, on Edmonton Sports Talk, we will. You put on your journalist hat and you take off your fan cap that Rashad made fun of me for wearing on Saturday. But I just love the team. I grew up here, a North Side Italian that had to go to that church every weekend and stare at the stadium, longing to go to a game. It's just carried on.
That's awesome.
I just need to say, I think it's funny when you say way back when, because it's Yeah, like really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. Sorry, Matt, you're up.
Yeah, no worries. Like Tom, like I grew up in a family where like dad and brother, big sports fans and just big football fans. So always loved the CFL, NCAA, NFL, and all that. And I don't know if they still do this, but back in the day, they would open up the gates in the fourth quarter. And my dad, that was when he'd first start me taking me to games, is we'd go in the fourth quarter and we'd watch just the end of the football game. And then eventually I got like personal like season seats in the Knothole gang. So I grew up in the Knothole gang for a few years, you know, watching the football, trying to catch, you know, the little footballs, trying to get on the cameras and stuff. And then graduated from there to sit with my dad in the seats, which was a big moment. And, you know, I was lucky because I grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s. So like my early years of watching the Eskimos at the time was like that 02 to 05 team, which was like one of the best teams that you're going to have, you know, with Ricky Ray, Jason Moss as the quarterbacks, and that receiving core with Tucker, Vaughn, Hervey, and then Mookie Mitchell coming in. And I love John Avery as a running back. I wish he was here a lot longer than that one season. Like he had just like the guy shouldn't have been in the Canadian Football League. And then defensively, just so many great players. And it was always fun going down to the stadium, and it was a way to spend your summers. And you know, I also remember like what it's like to not have it on TV, and how you'd get the magnet at the first game of the season, and you'd pay attention to which games were TV and which ones were blacked out. And okay, those games I know I'm going to go listen to it on 6:30 Ched, because you know we're not going to be able to watch it. Or you were hoping like that one game was like, hey, maybe they sold enough tickets, we're not going, and they'll lift the blackout for this one Rider game, and I'll be able to watch it at home because we're not going. So it just like football is my favorite sport. You know, I know we're supposed to be Canadians and hockey and all that, but no, like football is, and the CFL is then ultimately my favorite of the leagues that I do follow. And, you know, then that led to, you know, working at the station, and, you know, me and Dusty started with an Eskimos pre and post game show on 1260 before he stopped doing that. And then I worked with Eric Hernan and Jeff Walker on that. So it's kind of been nice to get fired from Bell this year, because it's been a long time since I've been at Commonwealth to watch football games. And this year to get back has been just so much fun. I've been enjoying the hell out of it. I love doing the pre and post. I want to do the coverage. Like this team in this city and this league needs more coverage. So I was always happy to do that. But this summer I've been enjoying, you know, being back and cheering and, you know, getting mad and being a fan once again. Like it's like Tommy alluded to, like when you're a journalist or you're a reporter or something, you shouldn't cheer for your teams that you're covering. But, you know, I could do that with the Oilers. I could say I'm no longer an Oiler fan, really. We cover that team. I don't cheer for them. I can't say that for the Elks. I fought it for so long. They'll always be the team of my youth. And like, it's gone now. Like I am just straight up a fan. And moving forward, if we're going to do pre and post next year and stuff, I'm a fan, like just straight up. I will still be a fan. I will try to be responsible with it. But I am a fan, and like so much a fan that me and Eric and his brother and Scott McCord, we have a CFL fantasy football league that I do on spreadsheets. It takes me an hour once a week to fill out. So we're into year 8. Eric's doing quite well this season. I'm not, but I am a 3-time champion. Just like to point that out. Go Sacramento Gold Miners. And then, yeah, that's my journey in the CFL.
That's awesome. If you ever need another person for that fantasy league.
Oh, there's a list.
Yeah.
There's a bidding process.
Yep. I'll get in on that. And I understand that whole, you know, you got to reel back the fan, because we're, you know, Kayla and I go down after games and
that's
talk
hard.
to guys, and it's hard to not be like, oh my God, can you believe that happened? Especially this past week. But we did all right. Eric, your turn.
Yeah, well, I'm from Saskatchewan, so I'll just preface it by saying that.
Okay, out. No,
from the chat. No, I grew up. There was a picture in my parents' basement, and it had a bunch of writing on it. And I always tried to read it when I was a kid. And as I grew up and I learned how to read, I could read the whole thing. But it kind of went something like this. I'm going to paraphrase. You know, I was born into a family. I was a twin. My twin died at birth. My dad then cheated on my mom. He moved out. My mom was then committed to an insane asylum. I recently met a girl. Should I tell her I'm a Rough Rider fan? You get it? You have this whole life. It's all shitty. And then it's like, oh, I'm a Rough Rider fan. Is that the thing I should tell her? Really? Because they lost. Like, they always lost. The 60s, like 70s, 80s. So I come around in 85. And here I am, you know, shitting myself. My parents are taking care of me. And then the 89 Grey Cup comes around. And John Gregory and Dave Ridgway and all that lore and mystique. And my parents had a party in the basement, and I was, I don't know, 4 or 5 or whatever. And I have like a bubbly memory of just people crying and embracing and 80s sweaters and all this stuff. And then my dad taped it. And I would always watch that at the end when John Gregor would jump around with his little rider sweater and it would go up. And it was just like, it was fun as a kid, right? And time goes on. And obviously, Saskatoon, you have the Hilltop, you have the Huskies, you have high school football, you have Kinsman Minor before high school. So you can be playing football for like 40 years by the time you turn 30. And which is probably not good for you. But anyway, that's how you spent your time. It was Friday, it was high school, Hilltops, Rams, down at Gordie Howe Bowl, and then Huskies Saturday. And then if you're lucky, the Riders would draw a Sunday game and you'd have a full weekend of football. But, I got to credit my dad a lot because he's the longtime Rough Rider sufferer. He's the one that, when I was growing up, I would wait till the Rough Riders won to like ask them an important question. Like, can I borrow some money? Can I use the car? And you'd have to wait for like 5, 6, 7 weeks sometimes. And then what I wanted to ask would like move forward. But it was this pain and frustration that I always saw in my dad. And then just him taking me to games like Hilltops games and Husky games. He always showed up at halftime because he didn't want to pay the price. So he'd like get in for free at halftime. Well, one time the U of A Golden Bears were in town playing the Huskies. And my dad tried to sneak in. And Jerry Friesen, coaching the Golden Bears at the time, thought my dad was a spy. So we the officials, and the officials, and I'm watching from the stand, my dad get like accosted by officials out in the bush, and they like carried him, and it was very embarrassing. But like, it was one of those moments where like, the thing about CFL, and like Maddie was saying, like, this is not a football mad country, but the way Canadians are and the way football is as a sport, there's an interesting mesh there. And I draw back to these times of innocence and like the fact you can still go to CFL games and there's no, I always say velvet ropes or multiple lanyards to get in. And I mean, you're getting Dylan Mitchell's gloves on the field for crying. I mean, these are things that if we could market more, but getting back, going to games with my dad when I was young, Taylor Field, bleacher seating, learning all the swears in the book. Guys out front would have like beer and they'd get them poured out by security. My dad would come up and be like, "Oh, take the Mickey out of his pants and be like, first game, hey?" And it's so like you can't do that in the NFL so much. And I mean, you guys probably have all stories about the CFL, coolers and stuff. But I was a very I grew up diehard Rough Rider fans. My dad, and you grow up there, and it's just like that's it, right? So 2010, I move here, and I'm getting friends coming up for games, and it's the Riders were still in that time, and I think the Eskimos were kind of teetering. It was Richie Hall years or whatever, so it was pretty fun going to those games. But then when I moved here and obviously working with the boys at the station, and as we talked about kind of, putting our fandom on a bit of a leash and then started going like Grey Cups and stuff. And it was then where I really became a fan of the league. I love the Rough Riders still, but I know that there's no Rough Riders without a CFL and there's no Elks without a CFL. And we're all, so I think that's when I like podcasts like this and again, going to Grey Cups and the one in Edmonton, Calgary. We missed the Prairie Triad with the Regina one there in the COVID year. But those parties really kind of opened up a whole new world to me. Like being a Rough Rider fan is one thing, but if you can really talk to people from other teams and, the friendly banter and that type of stuff. That's really opened up another dimension to the league that I didn't have kind of growing up, but it was my dad. It was bus trips with Safeway, paying $50, leaving at 5:30 in the morning. And we know a liquor rep, right? To get the booze on the bus. And Reggie would be the bus driver and he'd like pass people on the highway. And I mean, you'd go down the highway from Saskatoon or Regina, you stop at every bar, right? Bladworth, Aylesbury, Kenniston, and 3-4 buses in there. And they're just packed and booze flying everywhere. And it's such a great fun time always at CFL games. And that's why I like it. And it's usually pretty cheap. I mean, let's be honest, it's again, going to an NFL game is that's like planning a cruise, man. And I can't justify that. I'm a Bills supporter, but the CFL to me is one of those things that if it ever leaves, nobody ain't getting it back. It's one of those, and that's why it's lasted so long. So I'm a Rough Rider fan through and through, but I'm a bigger CFL fan now.
Yeah, we always say that we're CFL fans. We just cheer for different teams.
Absolutely. Big family. Yeah. All
right, Dusty. I mean, these people heard it maybe the last time you're on, but maybe tell us a bit.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say. I mean, it's tough to follow up these guys. I was just sitting there like you guys. I was learning all this stuff about these guys. It was great. I'm basically an entirely different story because I grew up on a farm in BC, and I lived in a town that didn't have a football team. So we just there really wasn't much of a connection outside of the annual Grey Cup party that my parents would host for all the other farmers in the area, right? So that was that was BC Lions, Doug Flutie, and Calgary Stampeders, Doug Flutie. And for us living in BC, it was kind of like when I was 8, 9, and 10 years old, Doug Flutie was a member of the BC Lions. And that's kind of how I sort of first got sucked into it. And then without the connection to a football team in our city, just football really didn't move the needle in Cranbrook, BC. So it really wasn't until I moved to Lethbridge to go to college. And 3, 4, 5 guys from my class were from Saskatchewan. And they were like every weekend, they're like, let's go watch the Riders game. And I was like, what is going on with these guys? Like every weekend. And so that's kind of how I first got into the CFL when I was like 20 years old with a bunch of buddies who were Riders fans at the time. So, that kind of was when I first got into it. And then, eventually moving here and taking over the morning show at the time, it was a different vibe around the team back then, right? There's a lot of excitement and, Maddie and I were working when the Ricky Ray thing went down, and it's been a real roller coaster basically ever since it kind of got here. Some downs and then, that brief up and then kind of back down again in the dumps. But, it was basically my connection to the league started in college through a bunch of Riders fans, and then it kind of just took off from there. Now, I am happy to say that I am raising a CFL family. Like, I don't think there's an 8-year-old boy or a 6-year-old girl in the country that knows more about the Canadian Football League because they like to watch Daddy on TV. So I'm bringing this next generation of fan, which is very important right now for the league. So that's the role that I'm going to play, I guess, moving forward.
Oh my goodness, that I'm just like still tearing up over Eric's story.
Which one?
It was just a string up. Yeah,
the one where they canceled the Grey Cup in '89. That one. Yeah, that one didn't happen. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So all of you guys obviously like met on TSN 1260, but how did you connect with each other and kind of, I guess, create this brotherhood that we now see before us? Matt, we'll start with you.
Oh, that's a good question.
Just say it, Maddie. Forced upon us by our employer. Right?
Well, there's a truth in that. You're right. Like it's like how you have friends throughout, elementary school as you're growing up. You're forced to be the friends of the kids in your class. They just put you in a classroom, and you're now friends with all of them. We just, at least for Dustin, Eric, and I, we started working together at the station, and we became friends that way. And like the thing about where we used to work, the thing I loved about that building was we had a good group of people, like both at TSN, at the Bear, and at times with Virgin Radio, even though they've changed so many different people, it's hard to keep count of who was there. But really, Bear and 1260, the groups that we had a strong culture, I would say. And like, I know you talked about that in football, like good in the room and all that. Like, that's kind of what we had, where we just like to have fun with each other, but like we don't have to be with each other every single night or all the time, but we're still great friends. And then through that, we got to know Tommy before he started working with us at 1260. And that's where our friendship of Tommy came on board. And like, we started working, dealing with him that way. And then when he was let go from the Oilers, it was just natural to try to get him on our station and have him in the fold. But yeah, like Dusty's right in one sense that it was forced upon us largely. But we just became really good friends. And then, for the last couple of years, we've kind of known something might come to our station. And we've had chats about what would happen if that happened. And it was just, without question, we knew we're going to stay working together because we just enjoy each other's companies. We're great friends, and we know that we work so well with each other. And if we did something together, we knew we'd do really well. And right now we haven't killed each other, which is good. And hopefully that stays. But 7 days in, we're doing it.
Well, just to follow up on what Maddie just said, somebody was in today.
Yeah,
it was Murray, I think.
Yes.
We're sitting around after, and we've been working all day. We're sitting around, kind of chilling at the end of the day, still kind of working, but going over some stuff and relaxing. And Murray's there, and he goes, you guys haven't driven each other crazy yet? And I mean, maybe I'm driving people crazy, but like these other guys aren't driving me crazy. So we're like, no, everything's going pretty well. So I think that's a positive sign.
I hate mornings. I am not a morning person. When I golf with people, like they know, my brother, dad, friends, they know, don't talk to me until I wake up. Like I'll be on the course, I'll hit the ball, just don't say anything to me. Just let me be. Otherwise, I'm going to be very mad at you. Like, and I will like bite back. I haven't done that with Dusty or Eric yet. And I'm stunned by that. Like I'm actually
Not yet.
surprised that we're all talking and I'm okay with it. Like, but anyone that knows me knows, like, do not talk to me for multiple hours when I wake up. And somehow I'm doing it with the morning boys right now. I don't know.
Wow, that is special because I feel that completely. Like, hush your mouth until at least I have a sip of coffee.
Like, talk amongst yourselves. That's cool. Just don't talk to me.
Noted.
So, Tom, then coming in as not an outsider, but someone from a different station, how did that feel for you to just, I guess, be enveloped with these other guys and become friends with them so instantly?
Yeah, great question. Dusty and I actually came back to Edmonton from Lloydminster, where I got my first television job. I was at CTV briefly doing sports there for a summer, and then the Oilers offered me the position that I had. But before that, I was working for The Score, and I was covering, football here in Edmonton. I did the Indy a couple of times. I did a whole bunch of Oilers games for a couple of seasons, and Dusty had just started at 1260, and we were like two of the youngest guys at the rink. I remember him sitting behind me at a practice one day, and we just got to know each other and started chatting, and I'm like, this guy he's a pretty good dude. And then and the other thing too is, like, I've got Bob Stauffer and Ryan Rishaug and all these guys, Mark Spector and Joanne Ireland, Robin Brownlee, Rob Tichkowski, Jim Matheson, Rod Phillips. Like, there's all these like staples in the Edmonton sporting community. Mark Connolly, just there, right? Brian Hall was there. And I was like, I look around and there's only a couple of younger people that were covering the team. And so Dusty and I kind of connected that way. And we did a bunch of charity events together. We just kind of built our friendship up that way. And then Iwanyk, I actually went to high school with his brother. And prior to that, before I actually got the Score job, was Gene Principe's studio runner while I was still at Nate. And I would have to get coffee. I'd have to get game notes. I'd have to set up interviews. But I got to do pre and post game interviews too with his cameraman, Corey Blashill. And that kind of helped me get the Score job. But Maddie ended up becoming the studio runner for Gene a couple years later. And I remember that, Maddie, when you did that job, right?
Yeah, I did it a little bit for him. And I worked a bit with Aquila, which is the video production team that they would do the in-game, scoreboard of both Oilers and Eskimos at the time.
That's right. And then Eric, I didn't get to know until a little bit later on, but I always knew of him. And
well, Tom, do you remember when I was in Nate and you came over to the boys' house there, and Ryan, Luke, we were all there, and you were telling stories of the road? I found it very, very fascinating. I think it was the first time I met you, probably like 2011-ish.
Yes.
Something. Yeah.
Was it when we were playing baseball in the backyard at Boys'
Backyard
House?
ball.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, like, it was Boys' House was this. If you had like 3 hours, we could maybe scratch the surface of it. But our mutual friend Ryan Meyer, who I went to college with, and Lucas, Eric's brother, is in Whale and the Wolf with Ryan Mai, and Ryan Mai's wife. We went to college together. So like, there's all these connections, and we're all like intertwined, which is interesting when you look back on it. But I got to know Eric when I was brought on by Maddie and JMO and Dusty to 1260 after my falling out with the Oilers. And for the record, it was just one guy that probably didn't want me there, and he got his way. He was subsequently let go, and that was one of the best decisions that the Oilers had made in some time. So we'll just get that out of the way. But it honestly, Kayla, it made me feel like I had a family again, work-wise, because I didn't feel that way in my last few years with the Oilers. I love the hockey ops side. I think that the appreciation was mutual there, and I think that speaks to the relationships I still have with players, coaches, management, equipment staff, trainers, all that stuff. And even on the business side, a lot of good friends still there. But I didn't feel like I was at home or welcomed. And then when I got to 1260, it felt good going in every day. And I got a little bit at a time, and I just wouldn't say no to anything. If Maddie needed me for something or someone was away, I'd say yes. And I had to learn how to do radio because I was just straight up a TV guy. And, I definitely had to make some mistakes to learn some lessons. And, I figure I got half decent at it. And it just, by the end, when we, lost our station, I totally felt like one of the crew. And Low Tide, JMO, everybody made me feel welcome. And, Hernan we love, and Connor Halley, Gregor. It did feel like I was at home, and I was missing that in my last couple of years at Oilers TV.
That's so amazing. Well, Dusty, Eric, any follow-ups to those two amazing stories? My goodness.
No. We basically not grew up together, but grew up in the industry together, really.
Right.
I was in, a bunch of other little places, Lethbridge, High Prairie, Fort Mac, Edmonton for a bit, Fort Mac, and then here permanently. But it's tough to get to a major market. And then, once you're here, if you're here, in your late 20s, early 30s, you kind of have a group of people that are all in the same situation. So, to me, we basically became professional broadcasters together, right? So, and it was good. The run that we had there was kind of unheard of in radio, really, in general. We did the morning show there. Eric came in after a year and a half, 2 years, and he was with me the rest of the time. The Bear morning show did have some changes, but Yukon was there the whole time. But the other FM station, flipped stations, went through 4 or 5 morning shows. So the fact that we got to put in almost a half decade doing what we were doing there is something that we're certainly grateful for. And we basically learned a lot from it. Now we get to do it on our own and be our own bosses. So it's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They've said it all. Matt, just quickly, Tom, my brother used to work at the station, Ryan, both from the band. And when I moved here in 2010, I went to Nate because Ryan went to Nate and his sister went to Nate before him. And my brother was doing the remote guy at the station. And we lived in this party house, and Matt would come over and party and Tom would come over and party. And I know Dusty was still moving here in the process and getting that going. But then when I was done with Nate, I went in for my practicum interview type of thing, and Matt was in the room. Matt basically hired me, and then he trained me, and he still trains me today. Isn't that funny, Matt? It's been 20 years, and you're still showing me what to do. But Matt showed me the first show I did was Inside Hockey with one Dustin Neilson, and that was after the morning show. Remember that? 10 to 11, 1 hour. And I remember
I'd always go get Subway and then come back and do Inside Hockey.
The three of us, and little did we know that we'd be all together again. And then Tom, obviously not there, but when you came in, Tom, and then you'd cover for Dustin on the morning show. You and I knew you before, obviously brief parties and drunken tales, but getting up in the morning, you really know somebody, right? Waking up, working like that in that environment, and we had some really good times doing that show when Dustin was away and on Fridays and stuff, and just so we all have a different type of thing, but now it's nice. We're kind of the last, it's like a big bomb went off there, and we're the last 4 kind of walking around in a daze surviving, because everybody else has kind of gone off and done other things. And maybe some of them are still there, collecting things in the rubble. But it's nice. I wouldn't have wanted to come out of that explosion with any 3 other guys, but it's a great mix.
I want to say one thing about working with Eric, because I wasn't sure. I always heard the lore of Lieutenant Eric, but I never worked with him. But then I got to fill in for Dusty, and I was like, oh man, I hope I'm adequate enough to work on that show, and Eric doesn't get annoyed by me because I'm just I'm figuring it out still, and I'd never done a morning show. But I think we shared a firm handshake after the first couple of shows. And that firm handshake has been this thing that we still continue. Actually, today I remembered I hadn't done a firm handshake with you in a little while. So after we finished the day, I just went up to you and we just did a firm handshake like we used to do in the studio.
I wasn't expecting it. You throw them out sometimes.
It was missing.
Strange now. Yeah. It was nice when there was just the 2 of us in the room.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching us do it.
Yeah. It's our thing.
Well, I'm sure people find it. Yeah, it's probably heartwarming. It's look, those guys get along. That's amazing. Yeah. All right, Superfan, is there some questions in the chat? We can get to a couple of those, and then we should probably start talking about that amazing game. But
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, there is a lot in the chat there. I think we've already got that. Leon wanted to know what's Dustin drinking out of his A&W mug.
Well, first of all, A&W, a text of the day sponsor on the Neilson show, so they get that in there.
Well done.
It's spiced rum and Diet Coke. It's I don't. People probably think I'm a heavy drinker, but I'm not. But when I do have one, it's usually spiced rum. I have one or two a week at night. So tonight was one of those nights. I was almost falling asleep after I put the kids to bed. My wife's like, "You got to keep going." I was like, I know. So I had a spiced rum and Diet Coke. So we're good.
Nathan nailed that one for sure. He said Dusty definitely has a spiced rum and Coke.
Yeah. That's trouble, right? Like that's trouble. That's not good.
Exactly. James C was asking, when does the EST app come out? I think Dusty, you kind of answered in the chat, but for those people listening,
yeah, we're working on. Hopefully, within the next little while here, we'll have EST app for Apple, another one for Android, and we've had some discussions with some other streaming partners that will make things. I mean, right now, all you have to do is go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com and click listen live.
Yeah.
Like it's not a very difficult process. But with some of the things that we're working on, we hope to make it a little bit easier for everybody here in the next week or so. So fingers crossed on that. But yeah, I mean, we're a week in. Like there's going to be like 3 months from now, it'll be better. 6 months from now, it'll be better. And 2 years from now, it'll be awesome. So patience with some of that stuff, but just so you know, we're working on it.
awesome. Well, let's get another one in here. James wants to know, I asked Neilson before and he had a great answer. So to Eric, Tom, and Matt, what's your favorite moment since you started in the sports broadcasting industry?
Who wants to go first?
Oh, jeez.
Who's ready?
There's a lot. Well, one I will go with is the 2018 Grey Cup. It's just a whole moment. It's like that whole week. Because it was the first time I experienced a Grey Cup as like a real adult and like as a like media person. And I got to experience it with Dave Jameson. And I've always tell people that the two biggest celebrities of Grey Cup week, number one was Ed Hervey returning back to the city. And then that was followed by Dave Jameson. Like everyone wanted a piece of Dave from across the Canadian Football League because he hadn't done a Grey Cup since I think it was 2012. So many people were seeing Dave for the first time, but you know, having that Grey Cup in the city, going to all the media events, like it started off with there was a TSN like launch on the Wednesday night up until there was a Grey Cup post party after the game on the Sunday night. Like it was just work, party, and maybe a little bit of sleep, but very little of that. And it was just a lot of fun. And then it also ended with, I got a pass to be on the field for the Grey Cup. So, because I was part of the radio broadcast team. So for the first half, I watched in the press box, but the entire second half, I was standing on the sideline, and I got to watch a Grey Cup game on field level, which was just really awesome for me. And then as the game ended and confetti's flying, and unfortunately the Stampeders were hoisting the trophy, you know, I was standing right there watching it all. So like that entire time and being able to just experience it with a bunch of family, a bunch of friends, but ultimately like having like Dave show me what Grey Cup really is. Like I couldn't think of somebody better to show me that. So like that is one of the top ones for me is the 2018 Grey Cup. The other one I would have to say, as I just remembered one, is I pushed hard for Canada Soccer to be here in November of 2021 for the two games. And I was on the radio station on Twitter a lot trying to sell those tickets to try to get a full crowd. And knowing I helped push just even a few people to getting to Commonwealth for those games, that will always make me smile knowing that I did a little something for that team, that amazing team. There was a little something I did with that.
That's awesome. What about you, Eric?
Well, Maddie stole both my answers. We're pretty much aligned. We like to have fun together, but that Grey Cup, we ripped it up, and we still made it on time to work every morning. And yeah, those qualifiers, whew, same thing. I mean, that was electric stuff, and it's just too bad we couldn't get over the line with the real thing. But this is going to be a weird answer then, I guess, if I can't use those other two. I'm going to say the pandemic, because it was terrible. There was nothing. And Dusty, I'll speak for you here, but we absolutely killed it. Like, I don't know if we're ever going to, this is a challenge, yes, but that was a challenge that you tell anybody a year or 2 years prior to that's going to be the case. Well, what are you going to do? You talk sports when there's no sports? And we somehow slithered through it. I mean, certain things happen years after that now you can see companies, you know, getting a little tighter or whatever and using that as a reason. But I like to think that we really took that challenge. It struck us in the face and we stood there and we struck it back and we kept striking it and striking it. And I do truly think we had a good thing going on before that. Don't get me wrong. But we still to this day get people, has nothing to do with sports, but just random people reaching out saying, hey, that was a pretty crappy time. And, it was for all of us, myself included, but you have to go in and you got to put a smile on and have a little fun, or try to. And yeah, with absolutely no sports going on. I mean, you had the Bundesliga going on. I got my Borussia Mönchengladbach scarf up there. I was watching the cardboard cutouts in the stands. Remember that? We were doing Korean baseball and Bundesliga soccer at the time. But I mean, but it was different and it was weird. And I don't think this is a challenge, but that was just something totally nobody was prepared for. And I think we really navigated ourselves through that and actually came up the other end, not better, but more differently, if that makes any sense. So maybe a weird answer, maybe a depressing answer, because Maddie stole both of mine, but I'm going to have to go with that. It certainly sticks out. And it's certainly like a middle point from the before to the after.
Oh, it's a baptism by fire for sure.
In a sense, yeah, good point, yeah.
Yeah, so you had some time, Tom. What do you think?
I would say in 2017, I remember when the Oilers clinched that playoff spot to end the decade of darkness, and they beat the Kings the night they clinched. I remember I had to do these walk-off interviews in the arena, and I remember Todd McCullen, who I respect tremendously, who's always like very stoic and very much in the moment. And I'm about to go out there and interview Jordan Eberle, and he comes up to me and he goes, "Tom," and he just gives me a fist bump, and I'm like, "Well, I work for the team," so I'm like, "Yeah, okay, they did it." And I just remember going in and being on the bench and talking to Jordan, and I asked him like the first question, I'm like, "Hey, you guys clinched," something generic like that, like finally after all these years, and it was so loud in there, and I couldn't hear anything, and Jordan gave this answer. I think I muttered out another question, and he said something, thanked the fans, and it was just unbelievable. And then we get into the room, and Jordan looks at me. He's like, "Tommy, I had no effing clue what you were saying." And I'm like, it didn't matter anyway. Like, and just the weight and the pressure from all of that time and all of those terrible teams coming off finally. And then they won that series, and being with the team on the road in San Jose when they finally won that first series was pretty special. And then another one, just, I remember being in Graham Rahal's pit for the Indy here in Edmonton. And I was like, what the hell am I doing here? I shouldn't be, I'm covering Indy, but I'm a hockey reporter. And then one bonus one was the 2012 World Hockey Championship in Helsinki, and covering the gold medal game, and the Russians were in it, and the Finns hate Russians. And I think it's, a similar feeling from the other side, and having Russian reporters, journalists behind me smoking cigarettes in the press box in the stands, singing and chanting all the Russia chants. And I'm just like, where the hell am I? And to taste international hockey outside of North America was amazing too.
Oof, those are
Very
good ones.
awesome.
Holy man. All right. Yeah, Dusty, we got yours last time. So let's move on to some Elks talk, shall we? Because
Yes.
it is about that time. Dusty, before I get too far, how sad were you that you didn't get to call that game? Because all I could hear as the punt is going, "Are you kidding me?" Like I swear that's what I was saying as I was running onto the field. It was amazing.
Yeah, usually the Banjo Bowl is the one you want, but after the way those two games went, Labor Day weekend, I was looking at the schedule and I was like, oh man, that Calgary Edmonton game is going to be better. I think. Sorry, Eric, you might want to go earmuffs here.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, like,
He doesn't know how it ended.
Everybody
I hate
knew.
the Banjo Bowl.
Yeah, everybody knew that the Bombers were going to pump the Riders. Maybe not by as much as they did. So I kind of figured I was going to call a blowout in Winnipeg, and nothing against Saskatchewan, they'll bounce back. But that would have been nice. That would have been nice to call that Edmonton Calgary game. Just like this is the way that whole thing went down, with the way that they blew it the week before, and then they come back in like a very similar fashion. It was storybook stuff. It would have been absolutely incredible to do that one. Next year, I'm gonna have to find a way to somehow teleport from Winnipeg and the Banjo Bowl directly to Commonwealth in a matter of moments.
Yeah, I think
Please.
that would be wonderful. Yeah,
Boycott the game too, Dusty.
if you can,
Yeah.
if
Sorry,
you,
I'm
We're
out
all
on the
doing it.
benchable.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can teleport right to the tailgate. We'll feed you. You can go in and do the next game. You'll be good. Yes, it's perfect.
That's all you need.
Is that right? It's tacos in a bag every
Just gonna
year.
say.
It'll be ready for you. It's perfect. All right. So game recap: Elks win 25-23. It did start out like some of the early home games this year, but what a finish! And cue George Michael. Got to have some faith. And Dean Faithful knocks through the winning field goal with zeros on the clock. Let's just go around the horn with thoughts on this game. Tom, we'll start with you and we'll go all the way around.
Well, it was the start. I mean, when they opened up with the lead, I'm like, okay, the boys are back. They're confident. I like the way things were going. The vibe in the stadium was great. And then, it seemed like in the second and third quarter, I'm like, what the hell happened to the offense? What's going on? Like, we're reliving the fourth quarter, but in the second and third quarter of last week. And it was good to see some stops and things start to change in the fourth, and then Trey Ford starts to put together a few drives, which he wasn't able to do in the fourth quarter. I mean, I thought they lost their momentum in the Labor Day Classic in that fourth quarter, and that one stop late in the game where they really could have maybe turned the tide a little bit and given themselves a little glimmer of hope. And then the defense just got sliced and diced. And I'm like, this is deja vu, but it's being prolonged through the middle of the game. And then, Kevin Brown was good on the ground. And then through the air, it wasn't really happening. And every now and then you get a nice play from Trey Ford. But then when they woke up in the fourth and they slowly chipped away at Calgary's lead and the way they clawed their way back, I think that's a confidence builder. We've watched this team lose a couple of games late. And did we expect them to blow the lead against Winnipeg? Yeah, probably. It was a bonus and a nice surprise when they opened up a 22-0 lead in that game. And then they blew it away. And you're like, oh, well, this is this team this year. But to see them fight back the way they did and the offense to wake up the way it did. And Trey Ford took a licking. I mean, he got absolutely killed on a few of those plays, and I was like, I don't know if he's going to bounce back. The shot he took to the ribs, I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah. I started looking at Cornelius, and there was a couple plays when he started writhing around on the ground and pointing at his head. I was like, oh, when's the spotter going to get him? Because I remember I did the game with Dusty against Toronto when Cornelius got pulled out by the spotter. So I'm looking for the spotter to see. I'm watching Brian Cheeseman to see if he's going over to Trey Ford, and sure enough, he's still in the game. So I'm like, okay, good. And then when they managed to get that final drive down and Faithful made up for that missed PAT, I was just like, wow. I thought the win against Ottawa to break the streak, and I saw people just overjoyed after that game. I bring it up on the air. I saw a lady crying. Like, there were genuine tears.
Was that me? I was crying.
But you felt that moment, and then I thought that the other night it was that like times 10 because it was Calgary, it was the rematch, and now they put together a couple of home wins back to back, and the mountain that they had to climb in the second half, and they reached the summit. Like, that was a storybook Labor Day rematch, and I was like, damn, to see 32,000 there. It was a much better crowd. Be rewarded with that type of win. I think that was huge.
Agreed. We'll jump around a little bit here. Eric, how did you like that game?
Well, it's just the Winnipeg game too. Like, Maddie, you and I were walking around the concourse there, and that the air was just like any other team, any other game. You'd be up by that much, you'd be like, okay, here we go, and there'd be like, not sealing it up yet, but there was still this like just doubt all over people, and then they go on to lose. Okay, whatever. And I don't know, you're looking at the schedule and you're like, well, they're going to win a home game eventually. They're doing against Ottawa. And since that Winnipeg game, they've been playing some good ball and going into Labor Day, too. I mean, that's just one of those games where, this team has shown that what's the terminology here? They can't win for trying, can't lose for trying, or whatever. I mean, you go back to the game in Regina, too, the beginning of the season with all of that stuff. But look to where they've come, and they just haven't quit. And I'm going to fast forward to the game to Faithful again. I mean, he tweets out, this is dedicated to Chris Jones, the whole waving in the locker room. I mean, this team should have been broken time and time again. They should have quit. You see that a lot. A lot of these guys, they don't dream of playing for the Grey Cup. You know, they're up here to get tape or whatever sometimes, and some guys just don't care sometimes. This is a locker room that's never broken. And for all the Chris Jones negativity out there, and yes, maybe he shipped guys in and out previous seasons or whatever, it looks like he's kind of found his team here. And then a guy like Faithful, too. I mean, you look what happened during the offseason and that kicking position, and going into the season, it was like scraping the bottom of the peanut butter jar type of, no offense to being Faithful, but that's what it looked like. And can he kick over 50 yards? I don't know what story they're writing here. And again, beating Calgary on the Labor Day rematch is I mean, that's so you don't get the Labor Day one, but you get that rematch, and that's a good thing. But I don't know what the story they're writing here. It's too bad that Hamilton beat Ottawa in that one game there and kind of got another win. I mean, the hunt is still on, but there's going to have to be some chips falling in their favor. I get it. But you know, the game up and down, they're still learning. They're still learning to walk before they run. I guess this team, but certain flashes with Horde and what he can bring to the field. I mean, gets people into the seats, as you saw. It's a team that shouldn't have anybody there, and the players should have quit. Chris Jones should be getting mad and all of this stuff that you've seen before, but it's not happening. And I think that's a testament. And I think I look at the Stamps team too. I mean, they've lost a lot of swagger. They've had quarterbacks coming through that. They've always had a quarterback mill in there, and all these guys have come in with big old time. And I just don't get that same Stamp swagger anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of showed up in Labor Day too, where, you know, yeah, they came back and did what they did, but I think they knew in the back of their minds that they got away with one too. And then it showed, I think, on the Labor Day rematch that Edmonton stuck it out. And, you know, this is the team record aside that maybe is the most cohesive group right now, judging by that locker room celebration. If I'm the Rough Riders hosting them on Friday, you know, this is a team that's trending up. Just don't look at the record, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very, very true. Maddie, you said you've been a fan forever. So how was that one? Yeah.
Well, I was frustrated for the longest time, as you guys talked. Like it started off so well, and they were looking really good, and you know they were getting their stops. They got the touchdown, and then it was the Kevin Brown fumble that like it kind of all turned at that point because they were getting right at their field goal range, and you know who knows what that drive could have been, but they were moving the ball once again. You're thinking, okay, here you go. This is the team we saw in the first 3 quarters on Monday night, and they're bringing it back, and like that Monday loss could just kill a team mentally. Like you did so well against your provincial rival. You had the game right there, but you gave 3 touchdowns on 3 drives to the Stamps on that Monday to lose. And it's a short week. They're coming back. Like easily that could just completely crush you and you don't show up at all. But they didn't do that. They showed up to start. But then it all turned in that fumble, and it was like, oh, okay, this is the team that we've known to be watching here at Commonwealth for the last number of years or something. But like the Ottawa win was big to end that streak, but it seemed like this win ultimately, like quote unquote, exercised their demons because having Dean Faithful miss that extra point, and you're sitting there going, they're going to lose because of a missed extra point. Like this really, like it's every loss that they've had this year. Like there's something that you're like, how is it something different? How is it something, in Saskatchewan with giving up the rouge on the last play or whatever? Like there's always something. This one, it's, we're going to lose because we missed an extra point. Awesome. But instead, they drove down the field, got into field goal range, and Dean Faithful, who, look, I don't think a lot of fans out there have a full faith in Dean Faithful right now. I think there's still a lot of question marks in him, and especially after that extra point, I'll say I was very nervous going up in there, going like, okay, I don't believe this is going to go through. He just missed the extra point. But for him to have it go through, to watch the whole team just celebrate, rush onto the field as if, like they did against Ottawa, as if they like clinched a playoff spot or something like that. To what Eric was saying, you could just tell that this is a group that's really coming together, fighting for themselves. And what we've really seen, and I'm going to include the Winnipeg game and take out the second half of that, is this team's not as bad as its record shows. All the talk coming into this year about this team's going to take that step up, they didn't, but it's not because they don't have the talent. They've just had weird things. And I go back to that first game against Saskatchewan and go, if they could have punched one of those in on those 3 downs, what could have this season been? What could have happened this season? But that, as I was talking about the loss on Monday, potentially like it could have mentally crushed the team. That loss against Saskatchewan and how they lost the opening of the season, that crushed this team. But they haven't let it affect them. They found a way to bounce back. I don't know if we want to still talk about playoffs and the potential of playoffs. You know, it's a tough schedule the rest of the way.
Do it.
Well, it comes. Hey, if you could beat Saskatchewan Roughriders, let's see. Let's see. Maybe the conversation's there. It is the Canadian Football League, but like watching Trey Ford, like you sit there and you kind of wonder, okay, well, why wasn't he starting to start this year? But then you also hear, and I know you, Andrew, messaged us on the morning show, I think this week or last week, you know, point out that like in practice, it just wasn't there. So like it makes sense why he wasn't there, but you also sit there and go, well, he should have been there because look at what he's doing. In hindsight, 2020 is very easy, I guess, at this point. But you watch Trey Ford and you know, you can't like look at him. Like I don't see an NFL quarterback there. I'm not trying to knock him. But that's a good thing for this team and this league because you sit there and go, what could this guy do? Because he's nowhere near, you know, finished. This guy is still going to have to develop. What could he be over the next 10 to 15 years? And could he do that all with the green and gold? And how great could this team be with him? Because like what I love about him is he looks for the pass first, second, and third. A lot of running quarterbacks, they look for their first option. If it's not there, they just start running. And Trey Ford's not that guy. He looks to still see if he can make that pass, even if he has to run around a bit in the pocket or just outside the pocket to look for the pass. And then if it's not there, he's gone. And when he's gone, that's tough to defend. So the whole threat that Trey Ford is, like, it's like he's motivated this team. And you could just tell that with Jarius Jackson calling the plays and, you know, some of the offensive play calling we're seeing was never going to happen under Stephen McAdoo. Right. And you go, like, this team has turned this corner. And it's so exciting to now see what the rest of this season will be. Maybe it is a playoff discussion, but if not, like it's, you know, last year we're in the, you know, death march for 2023 and just trying to play a season-long training camp. This year it's like, okay, let's get ready for 2024, but with a lot of excitement about, okay, what could Trey Ford do next year? And you know, could Kevin Brown keep doing what he's doing? And so like, them getting that win over Calgary too is just extra sweet. You know, it's always. Labor Day rematch. There was a good crowd. That Saturday, you know, in September, beating Calgary. It's always a good day. So suck it, Calgary.
Maddie, you know what's good?
Yeah.
You know what's good, Maddie, compared to last year during the death march, if you will? They didn't sign and have 100 different players on the roster.
Right.
Like,
although 3 of those, I remember the Kevin Brown press release, and I remember the Dylan Mitchell one. I do remember those ones. Yep,
those were good ones. We did add some pieces at the end that all of a sudden became stars this year, right? Yep. So,
they started last year.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
they finished the second half of the season, and unfortunately with what happened with Christian Salisbury, but like there was another guy that came late in the season, and things were turning. But at least this year, we're looking at the quarterback. And going, there's a player. Like when Trey Ford came in at that last game of the season at home against BC, he looked awful. Yeah. Like the game was way too fast for him. And to see him this season go out there and looks like the game is completely slowed down for him, it's awesome to see.
Mm-hmm. I think Mike had a good point early on where he said, you know, it's different when the lights were on for him. And I think we saw that difference even in practice. Like once they announced he was going to be the starter, it like his practice level was different. Like I think there was just that little extra confidence boost that he needed. But I agree with you that I think it's the combination. Yes, he's very good, but the calling by Jarius Jackson has made him even better at this stage in his career. So I'm excited for that. Dustin, what did you think? And I don't know how much you actually got to watch of it, to be honest. But what did you think?
Yeah, we went back. I ended up watching late second quarter, and then the rest of it didn't hear the broadcast because we were at a pub, so we were just watching the game. I mean, I'll just say this, all the love. I'm still a Taylor Cornelius guy. Let's see what Cornelius can do. I'm kidding. I mean, that's a crazy thing to say. With that being said, I would have been interested to see what he could do without McAdoo. But Trey Ford is clearly the guy, and I think the best part about it is the level of excitement that he brings to the fans. I mean, he is the most entertaining player in the Canadian Football League. Now, if you were putting together a top 10 list of players in the league, it would be not yet. But let's see what happens the rest of the way this season. And maybe when we put together our TSN top 50 next year, you know, maybe he does end up in the top 20 or top 15 or something along those lines. So there's still room to improve his game. But I think I saw it in the comments here on the YouTube stream. You know, when they were struggling in the first half of the season, and you hear them say, "Oh no, the room's still kind of being held together," like that always comes across as a lot of lip service, right? Like, of course they're going to say that. They're going to say season's a train wreck, it's a disaster in there. They're not going to say that ever. But like now that you see the way that they've kind of rallied here, the way they were dealing with Faithful after hitting the winner, like you start to believe that, hey, maybe things were good. Well, they were off to the worst start ever, and they couldn't win a game at home. Like if they were able to come through that, then that could go a long way to go over build up this team. I mean, I talked about you guys last time we were on here. Chris Jones always refers to the team as kids. They're a really inexperienced group. Like, look at their secondary. They got basically 3 rookies. A second guy who only played 4 games, who's got 3 picks now. And then, Ed Gee, who's obviously played a ton. There's a lot of learning here for this group, and I think we saw that in this game against Calgary, considering the way the last one ended against Calgary. We had G-Roy on our show last week, and he said, it's a young team that made a bunch of mistakes. Well, if you're looking for, boxes that you need to check along the way, what did they do in the rematch game? They didn't make those mistakes anymore. They went out confidently in the fourth quarter and went through the offense that they weren't able to do to kind of hang on to that game the previous week. So it's just a really small window, but at the same time, you can kind of see some of these very positive steps taken forward.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Could we say the team is resilient? I think that's what we can say. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I know. Not an EST sponsor. I don't know why I did that, but it was just fun. I just thought it was funny. That's particularly why I picked that beer this evening. Superfan, what do you think?
I just thought it was interesting how it was just such a mirror image of the game before, and it's not really lost on me being the huge fan of the run game that I am. That we went from an offensive coordinator that was a former offensive lineman, and we didn't have the rushes that we do when we have a quarterback as the offensive coordinator, which is kind of weird. The penalties that Calgary had were just stunning to me, like 150 plus yards,
156,
156, and we were under 80.
Yeah.
Just again, such a crazy reversal, and it was like a donut game for me. We had that great sort of or a decent first quarter and a phenomenal 18-0 fourth quarter. It was just very interesting to see, but it was just all 3 phases in that fourth quarter were really firing. And I just loved seeing that everyone seemed to rally, even when, we missed that convert, we missed the 2-point convert and blew both of our timeouts on that series, which is, I don't know how that happens, but it does. And it just seemed like no one was getting down on each other. And you could see even on the sidelines, everyone just jumping up and down, really trying to pump everybody up. But the last point for me is I'd almost give a game ball to Taylor Swift for bringing so many people. That is the loudest. We've had 19,000, which is the lowest in history for Edmonton and Commonwealth Stadium, having less than 20,000 at a game. And we had over 32,000. And that is the loudest I have heard that crowd since the 2015 Western Final. It was incredibly loud. My 11-year-old had his hand over his ears for so much of it because it was just so crazy loud. And when Faithful kicked that field goal, it was pandemonium. And I haven't seen that many smiles and tears in a long time. So very fun to watch.
Absolutely. What about you, Kamish?
Well, I mean, y'all have said kind of just about the game and the recap, so I won't really go over that. But I will say, until I'm blue in the face, please play all 4 quarters. Like I will say it every single podcast until they do it, and then probably still say keep doing that. But I mean, credit where credit is due. I went over and sat with all of our Calgary brethren for the second half of the game, and that was a tough third quarter to sit through, but I had lost all my faith going into the fourth, like just before, we got that touchdown. But it was Liz's dad, Guy, who was like, it's the CFL, my girl, lots of time left. I'm like, you don't know this team like I do. But he kept pushing. It was probably, the whiskey fueled his love for me and said, CFL, lots of time. And heaven forbid a Stamps fan was correct. Thank God it wasn't Ryan.
Oh.
I will take Guy. So it was just like, it was phenomenal. And obviously, like, I ran down right before Dean got that kicker. So I was sitting by myself and I'm like, Lord have mercy if this doesn't go through, because I'm just never going to hear the end of it, being a faithful fan myself. But he did. And I just remember running onto the field and celebrating with you, Andrew, and being super unprofessional about it. Didn't give a damn. But
That's
I
the
think,
first
honestly,
time you've jumped into my arms and swung around with a hug. I was kind of caught off guard. I'm like, oh, well, okay. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, it was a great game.
I just didn't care. It was like, it was that walk-off like field goal that you always like, you want, and you want it to happen to that person. And it was just like a dream come true. But I think my favorite part of the game was Donovan Lumba on the sidelines.
Amazing.
I've never seen someone so dedicated. Like, obviously now he's practicing. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to activate him, given.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, but just, and then seeing him in the locker room, like, this person is so invested in this team, and even at the combine, like, it's just, I love seeing that. Like, it feels like he is a fan, but he's also like, he just gets it. He gets what the CFL is about. And I think, like, even though we won and it was phenomenal, like, he's my favorite part of the entire day. So congrats, Donovan, you won.
Hey, speaking of the sidelines, I just want to, Kelly, you made me remember something. I watched Jake Taylor like puke.
Yeah.
On the sidelines, and he just hurled big time. Yeah. While I can't remember who was talking to him. But someone was talking to him, one of the coaches was talking to him, and he hurled for like a good 30 seconds and then just put his helmet right through his mask, and then he just like adjusted it, gave it a wipe, and then went right back to the conversation. And I was like, wow. Wow. And then the trainer, I think it was Dan, came by with a water bottle and he just sprayed the puke down. And I was like, you just go on, because it was like early in the first quarter. And I was like, you want to talk about sidelines? There was Jake Taylor was blowing chunks on the sidelines
What a warrior.
And he didn't miss a beat.
Wow, that all I can see is like Cheeseman. You need a toothbrush here, bud.
Oh, here's an Excel and
exactly. Yeah. Don't come near me. It's good. Yeah, you're good over there. I want to give a quick shout out. I know we kind of said it, but the defense in the fourth. 6 points, and when we turned the ball over on that 3rd and 1 with 1:30 left, like, I thought it was, well, let me be fair. I thought it was over at halftime, and I did actually text our good friend Ryan and said congratulations on the sweep, because I knew, this is how this game has been going. And he texted back, he's like, long game, and I responded, yeah, if you're in green and gold. It's a very long game. All right, so I was wrong, and I was happy to be wrong, and that's fine. I'm not like Ryan. I will not come on here and say it was never in doubt. I'm like, no, it was totally in doubt. But they did find a way. But that defense stood on their head in the fourth quarter, and it was so nice to see that defense come out again, because they have been hit and miss, and like you were saying, Dustin, they're kids, they're rookies in the back. And Chris Jones said it in the post game, right? It's like, well, we got a bunch of guys back there. They're either making a giant play or taking a penalty. Like, it's one or the other. And it's what happens when you're rookies and they're trying to learn. And I just thought they had an amazing fourth quarter and really gave the offense the opportunity to do what they did. And that was super exciting.
They held Calgary to 3 2-and-outs to end the game.
I know, right? Like,
that was massive.
Huge. Yeah.
Big difference from a week before, where 3 fourth quarter drives all were touchdowns.
Yep.
Right. So so all of us are like, oh, writing's on the wall. Oh, wait, no, it isn't. Yay. Okay. So very exciting game. A couple of roster announcements. Oh my goodness, that is good beer. Okay. Yeah.
No Jake Taylor.
no Jake Taylor. Yeah, no Jake Taylor. The extension announced today. Thank you, Elks, for putting that out on a day when we record. That's why we went to Tuesdays. It's amazing. Mark Cordy extended 3 years through 2026, keeping the local boy in green and gold, which is outstanding. Now, last week, you blew it. You did all your signings on Wednesday after we had already recorded. Anyway, wide receiver, they did sign wide receiver Deontez Alexander, running back Kelsa Laborn, I believe is how you say that.
Sure.
Defensive lineman Calvin Bundage, and defensive back, well, they didn't sign him, but Donovan Alumba is around and is now in the 10-day window post the, to decide if they're going to put him on, but they'd have to put him on the roster if they bring him back in. So we'll have to see how that goes, but I hope so, because I'd like that. They also released running back Mekhi Johnson, defensive back Antonio Mitchell, and wide receiver Danny Vandervoort. Oh, just kidding. Come back 2 days later and he's back on the signed again. Game was a little tough on the injury side. Jeremy Dominique, Stephen Dunbar Jr., Marcus Lewis, Noah Curtis, all going down. Now, today at practice, Marcus Lewis was practicing. He was limited in practice. Noah Curtis was full in practice today, so he's recovered. I think Dominique was limited, but Dunbar was out, and it sounds like ribs. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. That's unfortunate. He was having a
on
really
the sixth
good
game
season, so it'll be a while. Yeah. So, all right, Superfan, do you want to do a quick Horde and Tell before we set up this week's game?
Sure.
All right, everyone will be able to. Let me bring you in close here. Hold on.
There we go. I got a couple of weird things actually at the tailgate. Something I'd picked up from a seller in Calgary, and it's a little odd, but I figured I'd add it anyway. So. I love the history of the team, not just the green and gold, but even before that. Before that, we were the blue and white. So when I had an opportunity to get a lovely 1940s blue and white helmet,
Wow!
took the
Holy smokes!
I love the little string on it here.
Very functional.
That'll keep it on your coconut.
Hey,
Put it on, Mike. Put it
is
on.
it made of lead and asbestos?
Pretty much. And then this beauty here, a 1950s nice plastic helmet. This one's a junior. I don't know who Daryl Spritzer is, but he'll be living in the basement for a little while here. It's got all the old logos on it. These are very 60s kind of logos, but that is definitely a sort of 50s helmet. That's the kind of thing that Jackie and Normie and everyone would have worn back in the day. And the only thing I wanted to look at was a little peek to the off season.
Yes.
I figure that, when there's no sports to talk about, or certainly no football to talk about, we got to sort of keep it focused on the team in the CFL. So what I thought we'd do is in the early 2000s, they had a brand called Pacific putting out trading cards. They kind of look like this. There's the Atomic stuff. There's Pacific. They had some game-worn jerseys like that. So I ended up getting a whole bunch of boxes of trading cards. Nice. So there's 2003. What is that? That's the Pacific, or that's the Atomic. There's the Pacific, and there's the 2004. So I got 6 boxes of those. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have you guys on, and we'll all just sit around opening cards.
Yes.
And
Anytime.
need them, got them.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Great find, man.
Yeah.
That is going to be a blast. Well done, Superfan.
Yeah, it should be fun.
All right. This is a preview of what is coming on Edmonton Sports Talk in the offseason when we crack packs and talk about old players. Yeah, there you go. Gotta find a way.
Well, what was it? 1 year for CFL Fantasy League, me, Eric, Dave Jameson, and the 2 others. We were having a chat in January about James Wilder Jr.'s season from the year prior, and we stopped and we're like, who's having this chat anywhere else in the world right now? That appeals to us directly.
Excellent.
To sit down and just talk about old CFL players. Count me in.
Yes, okay.
Even if I'm not invited, I'm coming. I'm just welcoming myself.
Absolutely.
You're in. We got it.
And Tom was actually talking. It was all about. It's too bad the CFL and NFL didn't play it. I've got a video of when the CFL and NFL did play each other.
Wow.
1981. The Grey Cup champion Edmonton Eskimos played against the Super Bowl champion Oakland Raiders in a game of charity basketball. So I said we'll get together, we'll open some cards, we'll put that on the TV, and maybe watch Warren Moon draining a 3.
Classic.
Yeah, those high boss shorts.
Oh, they were
something mighty about that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's set up this game. We want to hear from everybody but Eric because of who we're playing. The Elks play the Riders. They travel to the Rectangle on Friday. It's a huge game for both teams. Of course, Elks coming off their big win, and the Riders coming off a absolute beatdown. Big test actually for the Elks coming up against a what I would say a better team in comparison to the ones that they've had to play in the last few weeks. So it'll be a great test for them. Let's go around quickly with what are you watching in this game? What do the Elks need to do to win this one? Dusty, let's start with you this time. We'll work our way around. Oh, did we lose Dusty? He's deep in thought.
Yeah, something important.
There he's back.
Good.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, I get to call this game this week, so very much looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a huge game for both teams, and I'm actually more curious of what the Riders are than what the Elks are right now. Like I think we know the Elks recipe for success, right? Get Trey Ford cooking early, get him out on the run. I think the one thing that he'll have going for him this time is that he hasn't played the Riders yet this year, so they're going to have to adjust. Now, with Moncrief, and Moncrief this last game, both games against Winnipeg, that guy was all over the field. So, I mean, that's going to be a guy that you're going to have to certainly worry about a little bit. But I think Edmonton has an advantage from that perspective in that, they probably throw some new wrinkles here that had to deal with this year against anybody, and you got this freak in Trey Ford that can cause some serious issues. And then, the Riders, the last 2 times they played at home, they beat the BC Lions, they beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So you go into that and you go, okay. But then this last game against Winnipeg, they just straight up no-showed. And it wasn't even Dolagala. Like, Dolagala was okay-ish in a blowout, right? He didn't have a bunch of turnovers. Like, he wasn't good by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not the reason they got crushed. Their defense could not get off the field. Now, doing that against a Bombers offense when they're on is certainly a little bit different than what Edmonton's going to bring to the table. But I'm interested to see what Jake Dolagala does coming off, his first spanking in the Canadian Football League. Like, is there a bounce back game coming for him, and can he continue to be steady? And can Edmonton's defense, including the young secondary, try to take advantage of him? He's got a wicked arm. He doesn't really get flustered in the pocket. He's a big guy. He can kind of see over top of everything. But he does throw a little bit of a high ball. Like when he's going deep down the field, it's a little bit of a high ball and hangs up there a little bit. So it'd be interesting to see if they can take advantage of that a little bit. But I think this is going to be an excellent football game. I'm very excited to be on the roster for this one this week. And hopefully it lives up. Hopefully it lives up to the hype.
Fantastic. Eric, tell us why the Elks are going to win.
Yeah, well, because the Riders have nothing really, it's a big game for both teams, but they're kind of sitting in this middle spot. And as I said earlier, the Elks are trending the highest right now, really, that I could say. Like, everybody's falling into place as in terms of the West, I guess you could argue. But yeah, just to echo what Dusty said, I think it's going to be a great game. This is one of those showdowns. Friday night, I'll be watching at home prior to my brother's concert, Whale and the Wolf Starlight Room, this Friday. They'll run it around 11. There's 3 bands before them. So I have to watch a football game. Then I get to go to Starlight Room. So cheap plug there. I get to the Starlight Room, catch some good music, and enjoy buy lots of merch. They got it's a CD release, so buy the CD, the shirt, cap, the pin, the whole bit. And also to echo Dusty, I think, yes, we mentioned the young secondary with the Elks, and Dolagala, I think in the Labor Day Classic in Regina, really kind of caught that Bomber secondary off guard. He was just gunning them down the field. It was entertaining to watch. But I'll be anxious to see how they kind of match up against his arm. They're so Jekyll and Hyde Riders. That's the thing. And as I was saying earlier, like game 1 with the Elks and then not failing to punch it in here against those Riders, I've always kind of known what the Elks are. It's just they haven't been able to get out of their way, right, as we've been discussing. But with the Riders, sometimes they'll just show up and play like all 3 sides of the ball great, and you're like, wow, this team. And then they put up some stinkers this year, not just last week. I mean, they dropped a big one in Montreal, which again was a team that I thought was on the kind of the same level as them, and I was kind of expecting a little more of a fight. I just don't know sometimes if Dickey's got those guys. I wonder. Everybody's arguing lame duck contracts this year and everything, and they're again mediocre 6-6, just like they've been. And so that they pull you in, and then they kick you right between the, and it's just like, geez, what are you? Like, just so I can make up my mind. Do I keep paying attention, or do I just say, okay, whatever, and continue to go about my life? But it's going to be fascinating because, Edmonton's still chasing something, whether you believe or not. Yes, things have to go right in their direction, but they're not quitting. So I don't know why fans would be either, right? You might as well just close your eyes and hope for the best here. But for the Rough Riders, they're burning the tape. They know what they've done. As Dusty said, beaten BC, beaten Winnipeg. That doesn't go unnoticed. But I do wonder, it's always them going home there when it's like the Habs too, or something like that, right? Like the pressure's on, and they're going to be feeling it mostly. And Edmonton coming in after that fateful field goal, and playing nothing to lose, really. Like, that's just it. And so the Rough Riders they'll be feeling the heat, and I do wonder what Dolegala is going to do against that Elks secondary. I think that, to me, will be the matchup that I'll be watching.
Yeah, I agree. Matt, what you got?
Yeah, like just to Eric, what he's saying there, that the Elks, nothing to lose. That's often in sports the scariest team and the scariest opponent you could have is, now, like, I think we're all good if the Elks don't make the playoffs this year. I think we've somewhat come to expect that. And when you don't have that little extra pressure, that could also be some of the dangerous team. But this is going to be a fascinating game because the Riders are a much better team than, we've seen or we would have expected, a few weeks ago. I remember after the Bombers game, you looked at the next 5 and you're like, oh, all those are winnable for the Elks, go Hamilton, Ottawa, the Calgarys, and Saskatchewan. But I think over these last few weeks, and Dustin Eric mentioned the wins that Saskatchewan has, take last week aside with Jake Dolegala, this Riders team is a much better football team, and they're not just an easy, check win on the scorecard. The Elks are coming in hot, but I think you have two very motivated teams, and this is what's going to be fascinating to watch in this game. Is obviously you've got the Riders who are coming in off of just an absolute beatdown against the Bombers, being beat down by them last week. But for the Elks, how much does that last game in Saskatchewan play into them in this one? As red hot as they are, but with the way they lost, they were the better team in that game for the majority of that football game.
Yeah.
But they lost in such a weird way, giving up 9 points just like that in a snap of a finger. So how much are they going to be extra motivated in this game? And now with Trey Ford behind center to try to get that win that they should have had back in July. So that's going to be fascinating to watch. I think one thing that we saw about the Elks this past weekend is, at the first half, like Trey Ford's passing was not there. And they're going to have to find a way to get his passing in a bit earlier and get him, using his arm. Like, he can throw the football. We saw it against Ottawa. We saw it late last week. You need to mix that in a little bit more. And obviously you also still need to find a way to get Kevin Brown going, because this team is way better when Kevin Brown is getting the ball, because he can make plays happen. And, but yeah, this isn't going to be an easy game for the Elks. I don't think anyone should go into it thinking that, this is going to be an easy win. I think the Riders are the betting favorites for this, and I think as they should be, because they are home and they do play well at Mosaic. But, you hope that this Elks defense, learn from that game against Calgary, and, the inexperienced players are learning and developing and getting better and are going to have a better time closing out games. And we'll be able to see what Trey Ford can do against this Riders defense. And if he could keep cooking with Jarius Jackson, like, the Elks will have a shot at winning this. And then we could really, I think, have a good playoff discussion after that about, can this team make a run? But yeah, I look at this and go, you got two motivated teams. You got a Riders who are coming down a huge loss to their provincial Riders. You got the Elks going into a stadium trying to, avenge what happened earlier this year. And it's going to be a fascinating game to watch.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Tommy, what you got for us?
All right. Well, the boys laid it out quite nicely and eloquently, as they always do. I'll just say this. With the secondary, take away the middle, because they've been getting sliced and diced through the middle, and it's been painful to watch from an Elks standpoint. That'll be curious to see if they can close that up or take away some opportunities. And if Dolegala does sail a few high balls through the middle, maybe some of those DBs get their hands on those balls and take them back the other way, make the Riders pay, and then match the level of compete that the Riders are going to bring. You get creamed in the Banjo Bowl. I think that pisses them off, and I think that the Riders are the team that's going to come back with the more of a pissed off attitude, and let's see if the Elks can match that, because when you've won 3 of your last 4, which is incredible to say for this team considering how the season started, I'm not saying that they're getting settled in and getting high off of these wins, but they should enjoy and ride that wave, but know that this Riders team is looking at them and has the bullseye strictly between the ears of the Elks in their beautiful gold helmets with those lovely double E's. And so you got to rise to the occasion. And I'm curious to see if this team, this young Elks team, can match that level of competition that the Riders are going to bring.
Fantastic. Commissioner, what you got?
Yeah, I want to see what the boys brought in the 3 quarters that they played in Calgary. But again, play all of that in the 4 quarters, stretch it out, relax in the pocket, Trey, have the stability of both the passing and the rushing. And most importantly, manage that clock, because that takes the Rider fans out of the game. Once you keep heading that field down, or heading that ball downfield, getting those touchdowns, just relax, stay calm, be concise, and take that crowd out of it, because without the 13th man, you have the position to win that game. Not easily, but definitely a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? More?
More. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
More. Just, yeah, like take the 13th man out, and you can actually hear yourself and maybe pass the ball. I don't know. Yeah.
Set the tone for sure.
Set
maybe
the tone.
Maybe the well, I don't know. It is the Riders. I mean, the 13th man kind of could help us too. Like they could put an extra person on.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. Wait. Whoa. Kavis Reed was the special teams coordinator, and then who hired him as head coach?
Right. Yeah. One of the best. The only thing is, and people who listen to our show know, Kavis Reed gave me one of the best football memories ever that next year when he was head coach, because we went and he brought us down on the field in the practice right before the Labor Day game and put me and my cousin and my son in the middle of the huddle at the end of the practice. And it was unbelievable. And then Simone Lawrence was on the team then. And he's like, yeah, you guys just go play. And Simone's like, okay, they're going to kick it off and you're going to catch it. And you're going to try and run around me. And I'm like, I'm going to die, but this is amazing. Yeah. So good. So
okay, but like, who are we to talk about having too many men? Because look at the last game. So come on.
It's true.
Yeah, but the last game's not a Grey Cup game.
No.
But we've had it a couple times this year already.
It's fair. Yeah.
Too soon.
Mike's favorite line ever.
It's never too soon.
Never. All right. Super fan.
That's actually a prop bet that someone put in there, is who takes the first too many men penalty. So thanks, Leanne, for that one. That may have to go.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, Leanne.
Exactly. For me, Kayla touched on it a bit. I'm interested to see how Trey manages the huddle with that fan base in Regina, because they are incredibly loud, and as loud as we were in this last game. And I think that may have affected Calgary a bit. Regina is incredibly loud in that Mosaic Stadium. So he's never played there. He's always been backing up. So it'll be kind of interesting. And I like the idea of coming out early and just sort of maybe making Regina think, here it goes again after that beatdown. Yep. If we could see the first 3 quarters of the Labor Day game and the last quarter of the rematch game, I think we've got a shot. We only lost 12-11 in the last game in Regina. And that was, of course, the, to giving up the single point in the end zone. Does that happen with a different offensive coordinator, a different quarterback? I don't know. Maybe we're up a little higher. Last year, we won that game with Dusty's favorite Taylor Cornelius, a quarterback. So you never know, right? I think that it's going to be interesting to see our offensive line versus their defensive line. Our offensive line did great, giving Trey a lot of time in that 4th quarter. If they can keep that kind of thing up, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and I'm going to go the other way. I think our front 7 pressure, we got to see what that you can get him. Like you can get in that backfield. Like I know that the Rider offensive line have been playing better as of late, but that front 7 has got to get pressure. If they can get pressure, I think that makes that defense just a whole other level. So that's what I'm going to be the big matchup. I'm going to be watching our front 7 against that Rider O line. Let's get into our pick'ems, because I know we got to do this fairly quick, because Dusty's going to fade off into the blue yonder here right away if we keep going. We've had a couple of prop bets put in the chat, but put some other prop bets in there. We'll get the 4 guys to decide which one they like the best, or they might come up with one, because at least it's not Ryan where he does a whole bunch of math every time. And last week it was Trey Ford rushing yards minus the net punt average, the Elks net punt average.
Oh boy.
The line that I set was 54.5 yards. It ended up, the total was 48. So the under paid off with Trey Ford getting 82 yards. And I believe the punt average, I put it in.
Julian had
somewhere.
34.
34. There we go.
Yeah.
So, although I, because the stats were so great, I did have to work that out on my own. So, thanks, Ryan, for all of the math this week. My brain hurts. Okay. First, we'll go through the other games. Toronto at Montreal. This one is in Quebec. Dustin, who you got?
Doesn't matter where this game's played. The Argos are taking it. I think they're a 6.5 point favorite. The Argos deserve a ton of respect right now. Every time they make a case against this team against the Argos, I've learned that you just stop doing it. I think the Argos nothing against going on the road here. Like, Argos are winning this football game. I'd be shocked if they don't.
Yeah, I agree. Eric.
Argos.
That was easy.
All gonna be easy.
Matt.
Argos. So yeah, I'll take Chad Kelly and AJ Ouellette and what they're doing right now any day, especially over the Montreal Alouettes and what they have. Like the Argos, they're just an incredible football team right now, and the best in the CFL. And Montreal's not in the same class.
Ooh, in the same class. Wow, we have our Alouettes podcasters are in the chat. I'm sure they're going to have comments in just one moment.
Sorry, everybody.
Cliffy D already did say that Paul McCallum would be very happy that, or shocked that Mike has his rookie helmet. That's amazing. There it is. All right, Tom.
You know what? I'm going to go completely against the grain. And it's going to be totally out of whack, but maybe the Argos go and enjoy Crescent Street a little bit too much. And underestimate the Alouettes, who come out with a burr in their saddle and they pull off the upset. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Alouettes.
Well, thank God somebody did, because now we have some some balance, and now none of the rest of us have to pick Montreal or have to pick. Yeah, exactly. Kayla, who are you picking?
I like their pickup of Darnell Stanky, so good for you, Montreal. And I want to pick Montreal, but I cannot. So, Argos.
Fair. Superfan?
Yeah, you know what? Toronto's not going to go 17-1 this season. They're definitely going to have a loss, but that's going to be October 6th. So this time they're going to beat Montreal.
I love the way you say those things. Yep. I'm going to go with, even though I do think that Swag Kelly, I keep saying that name, will be having fun in Montreal the night before. I think they find a way. Next one, again, a super tough one. Winnipeg in Hamilton.
Winnipeg.
Okay. Can we just like who's voting for Winnipeg? Like,
well, I'll speak a little bit in defense of Hamilton. I don't think I'm pick Hamilton, but no, it's after what Winnipeg did against Saskatchewan last week. Is there a come down for them? They put everything they had into going out and absolutely decimating the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Do you see a letdown this week from them? So I think I'd probably still go Winnipeg, but I think this could have the potential of being a really close game because the Bombers have a bit of a letdown because they put so much energy that they had into the Riders in the Banjo Bowl.
Oh,
I'd be okay with that.
Maddie almost went with the trap game theory there.
I don't know who Winnipeg has after. I'd have to look.
I don't know.
I think
they have Toronto. Yeah,
well,
they go by and then Toronto.
So you want like that this has the potential of a trap game. You just put all your energy in that one. You're in a bye. You're looking at Hamilton going, we're on a second bye already, like in a sense. So this, I think Winnipeg's gonna have to be careful in this one because Hamilton's, with Powell, he's playing a little bit better as of late.
Yeah, and they're playing on more than 3 days rest, so maybe they'll be better. Yeah, that's true. Although they won the game on 3 days rest, which I don't understand. Anyway, whatever. That's nice. Superfan, did you put your hand up for Winnipeg? Or?
Oh yeah, we did the Queen Wave.
All right, I was. Wait, did you say Queen Wave? Oh,
or Dean Wave.
Go Dean Wave. There we go. We'll make sure we put that in there. All right, Ottawa at BC. This one is in BC. Matt, we'll start with you.
I'll take the BC Lions. Yeah,
you don't say.
Okay. Yeah, that one I'll stick with the I won't do what I did with the last one there. Yeah, I'll go with the Lions. They're home. Ottawa's not good. Like they're the worst in the Canadian Football League right now, and I think the Lions maybe use this to try to get their season kind of really going once again.
Fantastic, Tom.
Lions will feast in that one. Sorry, Red Blacks. I mean, when you fall to last in the power rankings and you got the double E climbing in the charts, it's no bueno this time of year. So I'm going with the Lions.
All right, Commissioner. Okay, for the audio,
Great podcast.
he's pointing
Obviously,
yeah, exactly.
people who listen know,
jersey?
obviously,
Yeah. Okay,
don't
yeah.
bet against.
Yeah, got it. Pointing at the BC Lions jersey. All right, Eric.
BC, yeah. Traveling cross country, as Maddie said, worst team. I mean, this one's easier to pick than the Winnipeg Hamilton one, in my humble opinion.
I would agree with you.
Taylor Powell too. Taylor Powell is leading my Memphis Mad Dogs to a championship. He's been turning it on as of late. And Maddie, outstanding.
Don't get carried away yet.
Heading into the bye, that's an outstanding point for Winnipeg. That's the whole. Yeah, I could see that.
Don't get carried away with winning the championship yet, because
I'm not
you've
getting
come
carried away.
close many times and you've lost. Don't say,
check this out.
I've got the
I
championship
Taylor
over
Powell.
here.
I got Trey Ford, my Canadian spot. I am cooking.
Yeah,
and
Trey Ford is on a bye week in championship.
Who?
Trey Ford is in the championship week.
My Canadian spot and take one of my stud backs on the bench and elevate him up.
Wait till the gold miners start picking it up.
Welcome to the Edmonton Sports Talk studios.
Where's our popcorn? Oh my!
Oh, it's amazing. That's
Listen. It's a complete waste of time for a 4-man league anyway. We started a rival 6-man league, which is better. There's 6 teams in it. My team is a 6-man team in the 6-man league. Is better than any of their 4-league teams. I've got 2 more guys who compete against.
So they don't have to play a quarterback. That's cool.
What?
And number
No,
two,
it's a super flex. It's a super
they don't have
flex.
to play a quarterback. You don't have to. Do you have to play a quarterback?
It's a super flex. You want to play a quarterback in there.
Do you have
but
to?
if your quarterback's on a bye,
exactly.
I played Markeith Hambles in my super flex this week. Still won. No big deal.
Doesn't matter. Number 2, their league only exists because of our league. All our spreadsheets, all of everything we had was sent to them out of a kindness gesture from our league, and they're only existing because of our wonderful league. They will drop.
But we've taken it and made it better. We've made it better.
Dusty will drop his team in a heartbeat to join our league when we want to expand.
Never.
When we
He said it on the record.
First one in line, guaranteed.
I can't take a 4-man league seriously. No. Sorry, boys. I just can't do it.
I can't take a league that doesn't want to play a quarterback seriously.
You can't play a quarterback. We always play quarterbacks.
Oh, now you're going to tell me they don't have to start a quarterback, but they have to start a kicker, right?
Do you have to
we
start
all
a kicker?
Kickers.
Yeah, there
it
is. Oh my God, Paul Reckner just fell off his chair. Poor guy. Yeah, I hope you're okay, Paul.
At the Dunya on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
No, the Camus Reed Fantasy Football League of Adult Things. That's the one we want to be in.
Yeah, try to remember that over the Dunya.
Yeah.
Hashtag Kerfloat. Done. Just like that.
Oh,
anyway,
this is amazing.
I'm on the BC Lions.
Okay.
BC Lions. Eric mentioned it. Ottawa's going to come across the country. BC's coming off a bye. I would be stunned if Ottawa keeps this thing within double digits. I think BC's going to absolutely roll.
All right, fair enough.
The championship trophy's right here. You can see.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Gold miners from last year, right there.
Oh, that's
got the Dunya White House championship jersey. What do you guys got? What do you guys got?
Beautiful.
You guys got all these.
We're in our first year.
Yeah. We what are you playing for? Do you have any idea what you're playing for? Because we're playing for this.
Mine.
3-time champion. 3 times.
I mean, Dunya White House.
I think I might actually
Dunya White House.
I'm getting this to come and present us with our championship trophy. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay. I'll put this to the 3 here. We have Dave Jameson
cool
present
jersey.
us.
Cavis is going to present us with our trophy.
Dave Jameson presents ours every draft. He's at every draft, and he live tweets it, and then he presents the jersey to the winner every year. Beat that one.
Maddie, we've got picks to do. Relax.
Yeah. Dusty, I'm kind of sorry, but JMO is the deal breaker for me. I don't know. That's
I hope he writes that book. I really hope.
Oh,
he writes that
I
book.
agree. Super fan.
Oh, I think everyone's already said it all. I mean, again, a team coming off a bye versus a team going 3 time zones. That's basically all day long.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same. Home team. There you go.
Yep.
All right. So, what do you got for prop bets in there, super fan?
Oh, we had a few things in there. I think we've already given one with the who takes the first too many men penalty.
Okay, that's one.
Okay, come on now. It's not scrolling back. Come on. Scroll back for me.
I did see a Trey Ford passer
rating. Yep, that was Ken.
Okay.
I'll throw one there if I can.
Oh yes,
yeah, please do.
Like with Steven Dunbar out injured, Dylan Mitchell receiving yards.
Yeah. Oh, I like
it. Does he step in and get a bigger role, or like does he step up a little bit more? Like last year when Lawler went down with injury, that's kind of when he shone and he became the starter, and we realized what he can do. Mm-hmm. Does he step up in Dunbar's absence here with this team?
Ooh. What does everybody vote? I kind of like that one. That's a good one.
Good call, man. Yeah, we can do that one. What's the number? What are we gonna do?
I'll set a line here. So Dylan has not had what I would say massive weeks to this point. But if he's stepping up in the role now, Dunbar has had a couple of games where he's pushing 80 yards. Most of the ones, though, he's been sitting somewhere around that 50 to 60 range, but he's got 2 touchdowns because he catches those those 15-yarders in there. So let's set the line at 59.5 yards for Dylan Mitchell this week.
Good number.
Over or under? We'll start. I'm just gonna go around in a circle. Commissioner, we'll start with you.
I'm gonna be positive, and if Mama Melissa is listening, because we know how much she loves her D-Mitch.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna go over.
Okay, Tom.
I'll take the over on that. I like how Maddie brought up with Dunbar going down, and Mitchell's done it 4 times already this year, so why not do it again in Sasky, especially if they put an emphasis on Ford putting the ball in the air and not relying on his feet, not always going to Kevin Brown, then I'll take the over on that one.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I'll take the over as well. When Eugene Lewis went down, we didn't see really that step up, but you didn't have the defense having to focus on a Eugene Lewis. The Saskatchewan still has to pay attention to Eugene Lewis now because he's healthy. So I do think that opens up. Dylan Mitchell got the big touchdown last game. So I'll take the over on that one.
All right, Eric.
I'll go slightly under, just by a hair. Just because not due to the fact that Mitchell will be held or anything like that. I'm looking for distribution, spreading it out. Trey Ford, I'm not 100% convinced of like his aerial superior. Going into Saskatchewan again, great defense there. So I'm gonna go a smidge under, maybe just a hair, but maybe a touchdown as well.
All right, fair enough. Dusty.
I think I'm gonna take the under on it, and like the tough part is with Mitchell, this could be over in one play.
Yeah.
I mean,
it could be.
The deep threat that he is, it really is. So it's a little risky to take the under, but I'm feeling like Kyron Moore game. Ooh. In the fact that if you're going to be looking, what I would think, and I haven't seen the depth chart yet, but I could see them moving Mitchell on bar spot, but elevating Kyron Moore, more prominently in the slot, which I think could work really well for Trey Ford. So I think we might see more of a Moore game than a Mitchell game. So for that reason, I'll take the under, but knowing it could be killed in one play 5 minutes into the football game.
All right, fair enough. Superfan.
After that fourth quarter that Gino Lewis had, if the Saskatchewan Roughriders do not bracket him, he's going to burn them all day long. And that's going to leave, again, Swerve. It's going to leave Dylan Mitchell. It's going to leave Gavin Cobb open. So with those kind of weapons, I think Mitchell tends to be sort of that second target now. So I think that he's going to have a monster of a game. And I think we're going to see at least 80.
Ooh, all right then. I am going to agree with Eric and Dusty and say that he's under and the ball gets spread out a little bit. I think Gavin Cobb starts to play a bit of a role in this offense. And I agree with you, Dusty, that we'll see Kyron Moore. He's been kind of getting more and more each week. That was totally not intended, but it was funny. So I think we will see now he might also be the one passing to Dylan Mitchell. We've
There you
seen
go.
he can do that. So, but I do think that he ends up just under. I think we've got a number of receivers that could end up in that 50 to 60 range, but I'll give Dylan just under that. So, good split on that. So that'll be very fun. In our CFPN fantasy pool, I won against the Argos Fancast. And in our Turf District Civil War, Superfan wins that one this week. This week, Commissioner, you get Ben from X's and Argos, which I still think is one of the greatest podcast names ever. I just love that one.
It is so good.
Yeah.
And the other game, it's on Superfan. I'm coming for you, Superfan. That's right. You got to win to keep pace there, buddy. So
I know. I'm in 8th place.
It's gonna be fun. So I'm excited for that Civil War. You guys, thank you so much for spending all of this time with us. I know you guys all have to be up early, well, except for Tom because he comes in late. I do appreciate you spending all the time and the laughs with us. And thank you so much for EST because I've really enjoyed it so far, and I hope that lots of other people are listening and interacting, and it continues to grow because it's super fun to listen to you guys. You can tell that you're friends as well as radio guys and taking it seriously, which is awesome. So I really love it. So each one of you, let's go around with plugs. Where does everybody find you guys and connect with you? So Tom, we'll start with you.
Tom Gazzola on Twitter. It's as simple as that. Don't go to Facebook and look for me because I hate Facebook. I love Instagram though. Instagram's great. And then every morning on the Hangout, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the Oil Stream with Dusty. And then, in a couple of weeks, we're talking about the Oil Stream pre and post game show. And it's going to be a fun season, I think, in Oil Country. And you can also find me at Commonwealth Section D. That's where I hang.
Nice. Are you up top or below? Because I'm in C.
I'm down below. Yeah, I'm pretty close. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be. I'll look for you next game. We'll see. If
I'm
there.
there.
All right. Yeah. Matt, where does everybody find you?
Pretty much just Twitter. Matthew Iwanyk, the full first name for Matthew. Edmonton Sports Talk. We're doing there. EdmontonSportsTalk.com. I joined Tommy on the Hangouts, and just will be all over the place with Edmonton Sports Talk. You could also follow at the Dunya. If you want a proper CFL Fantasy Football League, I do run that account as well. So keep tabs on the #1 fantasy league. The at the Dunya is the other place you can follow me.
What week does your playoffs happen? When do your playoffs happen?
Well, before everyone starts taking time off for the end of the year, we play in week 16 and 17, and then we get to enjoy the rest of the season as fans.
Too early.
Considering you have yet to finish a season, I don't think we'd speak on this because you have no experience.
Don't worry.
You don't even know how it plays out.
Our season's over. I've got this thing locked up.
Well, cool. I'm glad you're winning nothing. We've got this. But in all seriousness, you guys also thank you very much for having us on, for believing in us, and for being a friend of EST. We're very thankful for that. And a plug for that is Thursday nights, 8 o'clock, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Eric?
Yeah. Twitter at Lieutenant_Eric. I'm on Instagram at Lasagna Enthusiast. It's all one word. I'm on Facebook, but you can find me. You can try to find me if you're up for it. My phone number is 780-218-9999. You can text me anytime. My phone number again, 780-218-9999. Flip me a text. I'll always answer them. And then you can find me also Monday and Thursday night at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. We'll be hosting Monday and Thursday night football all season long. Drink specials, food specials. Come down. I'll buy you a drink. It's a good time. Football, baseball, the whole bit's going on there. And everything and anything Edmonton Sports Talk. As you know, hanging out with Tom. Those seats that Tom's got down there, it's like what, row 2 or something. Like, you can touch Hernan and Dahmer on the side. You can like hit them in the back of the head. That's how close.
Yeah.
And so Elks games, I mean, the tailgates. I'm always if I'm in town or whatever, going to be at the tailgate. That's one of the best places to be in the summer, and the other best place to be at Riverhawks games as well. So those,
Agreed.
Family affordable type of sports events and stuff like that, kind of roaming all over. Stingers as well, didn't get a chance to get out there, but anywhere and everywhere I like to kind of walk around. I do a lot of walking, so if you see me like walking around, you can like throw something at me or honk your horn. But yeah, 780-218-9999. And yeah, let's have a good time.
That's amazing. All right, Dusty, where does everybody find you?
Yeah, not walking. I'll tell you that. I have places, so that's good. Yeah, I'm still like my Twitter's kind of in limbo right now because it still says Neilson TSN 1260, and I just don't have the heart to like change it right now, and I also don't know what I'm gonna go with. So I'm just kind of riding this out for now. So that's where you can find me for now, and then weekday morning 6 to 9 at EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Outstanding. And of course, on all of your favorite TSN play-by-play calling, it's always Dusty and what is happening, because it's the greatest line ever.
I think we might get some of those. We might get what is happening in this Riders Elks game. There could be some crazy stuff.
How about that?
I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is happening? This is amazing. I'll take it all. Hey, the Elks ran it right into the turf district. I'll keep that plug over and over again.
I know.
I got okay. Commissioner, where does everybody find you?
On Twitter at Duchess Lombardi. If you find me anywhere else, get lost. You're not welcome. It's private.
I feel the same way, actually.
Also, I will join you, Eric, on Monday when the Saints play the Panthers. Looking at you, Dustin.
Oh yeah, okay.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
That's hilarious. Super fan, where does everybody find you?
You can find me on pretty much all the socials at 56 Parkies, and then the history and Horde segments you can find at the Edmonton Football History account at EDMHISTOREE.
Wonderful. I swear it's a song. It's gonna become a song. I just know it. Yeah. All right. You can find me at Free Policious and the show at The Turf District. That's everywhere. X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're also now on Blue Sky, but I screwed it up and put it as Turf District Pod instead of the Turf District. Not sure why.
What is that?
Just to mess it up for fun. It's like Twitter without the
Nazis.
people.
Yeah,
exactly. It's amazing.
Too old for this garbage.
Very good. Of course, check out my articles on 3 Down Nation as well. If you're on YouTube live, please stick around with us for overtime. It will just be the 3 of us because these 4 have to be up very, very early.
No.
3.
Yeah.
3. Yeah, correct. We'll talk more fan discussion. Otherwise, we will be back next week to talk about the 2-win streak as we take this one down against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So, and before I forget, don't forget the Pay It Forward with Football event. It is happening on October the 27th, 2003 at MKT Beer Market. Get your tickets through them and be a part of spreading kindness, because that's what we need. All right. So for Dusty, Eric, Matt, Tom, Commissioner Kayla, and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.
Don't go anywhere. It's overtime.
Oh, well, maybe I should put the right thing on here. Not the end of the show. I clicked onto the outro. I don't know. I'm still laughing about the battle over fantasy leagues, which was outstanding.
Very entertaining.
Yes, those guys were awesome. I really appreciate them taking all that time. They've got to be up very, very early.
Yeah.
And well, again, except for Tommy.
Except for Tommy.
But Tommy did say thank you for having us right in the chat. So
Right, there
thank
you
you, Tommy. It was amazing. It was nice to finally get to kind of meet you and chat with you. And same with Matt and Eric, because we hadn't had a chance to have them on yet. So that was a ton of fun and lots of goods. And you know what? If you thought that was fun, tune in the mornings, because
it's wild.
This morning that Goonies chat, I was almost crying laughing. It was so funny because Dusty didn't know what to do. He was like,
I know.
What do you mean you haven't seen the Goonies? It was so funny. And I love listening to those guys in the morning. So highly recommend it. And then on Thursday nights at 8, might as well turn it on again.
Might as well.
Why not?
Yeah. Heck not.
You can't get enough.
Right?
Hey, you guys.
How do you not want to listen to that again? Those four were hilarious. That was amazing. All right. So we are in overtime. We are going to go back and answer what we can out of the chat. If you have other questions, throw them in the chat for us. There's lots to talk about as we come off this enormous win and how exciting it was. And of course, the Queen wave just made it all the better. I don't know about you guys, but all of the pics and gifs and all the stuff that came out afterwards,
right?
I loved everyone. It was so great and so good for Dean, right?
Yeah. Love the team changed their picture to him.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome. And
super fun.
Kayla, you and I got to talk to him after the game, and it was just, because we've been Dean fans since we met him at Fan Day.
Absolutely.
And how much he wanted to be a part of the team, but he knew that he's a rookie. He knew he's an older rookie, but he wanted to be part. He wanted to support for the team. He wanted to get that win for them. And having that happen was, it was just kind of full circle, especially when a lot of people were losing faith. And
gotta have faith.
Yeah, I'm not doing the dance, just so you
know,
because nobody.
I guess it would be nice.
Nobody. Well done.
There we are.
Well done. I can tell you now, it would not be nice.
No.
I only do this one.
What I loved, but especially, Faithful hit 2 field goals of 40 or more yards. We're talking about a guy that 5 years ago had never kicked a football.
Right.
Yeah, everyone talks about him being 36, but he'd never kicked a prolate spheroid, as they apparently have made up the name for, a gridiron style football. Like he was a soccer guy. And to be able to take the pressure and go in, especially after people were mad about him missing that PAT. He's got an 85% average right now, 17 kicks out of 20 tries, and really only the 2 games out of the, what do we got here? 11 games so far?
Well, and now it's actually 86 now because he's 19 for 22, because the 17 of 20 was after week 13. And he, so, okay.
Isn't it 19 consecutive? Wait, and how many consecutive? Doesn't he hold the record in the CFL, like the season right now for consecutive?
I think it's
the active record. I think he might.
Oh, he might. Okay.
Yeah.
But if we had any other rookie, and they were kicking 86%, would we be complaining?
No.
Right? Right. He's amazing.
Well, that boom kickoff to start off the game.
Which I don't understand why Tommy Lee Lewis? What's his name?
Tommy Lee Lewis.
Yep. Thank you. Yep. Not Jones. Okay. Tommy Lee Lewis. I don't know why he ran that out. I was fine that he did, but I was like, why are you running that out? That's so weird. Anyway, I don't get it, but we'll take it. Yeah.
But can I just also say, just him personally, not that I'm biased. Okay, guys, not that I'm biased. But he is just a really kind and humble person. When you talk to him, he is genuine and sincere. And he's so good with fans. Like my friend Carlo with her boys, who are absolutely obsessed with football now, love football now. he gives them a hug every time he sees
Awesome.
them, like he knows them, right? So it's just, he is one of those guys who just sincerely wants to be a part of the CFL and contribute, because that's just who he is, not for this clout or this attention or to gain this, I don't know, momentum that it's growing in the fan base for him. It's just because he wants to be here, period.
Yeah.
So it's really nice when you have those kind of guys on your team. It's very humbling.
Well, and his tweet afterwards, right? That one was for Chris Jones and for Edmonton.
And for Edmonton, like,
amazing. Like somebody who believed in him, right?
Yep.
And so yeah, it was so awesome for Dean, and I was so happy for him, and it was hard to not just be giddy when he came around the corner in the locker room. Like, yes, great job, that was amazing. So extra points to him. All right, Mike, do you want to scroll back to the beginning? I do have one question here that was Olean was saying, still learning the game. What does PAT stand for? Point after touchdown.
Yeah.
So that
convert,
basically. Yep. And one other thing that got said here was, and this is very exciting, Tim Capper, looking forward to seeing you, TD crew, in a few weeks, as Capper and Cliffy D and Manon are headed out, and
we'll get the brisket ready.
Yep. And
started curing.
We're gonna, hopefully they will come and do a small tour of the turf district, and they will be
maybe
there
the
for
turf district west. You never know.
Oh, maybe no. We can try and figure this out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna have some fun with Cappy and Cliffy.
I'm gonna see them a couple times this year. Actually, it's crazy. I'm gonna see them in 3 weeks in Ottawa.
Right. Oh, are you? Oh, okay. So you get to see them again. There you go.
Because they're coming. Montreal plays Ottawa.
And I've never seen them yet. See? So
yeah. So
what the heck?
I know. I don't get out much.
Oh, Marty.
It's hell being old.
Okay.
But it's not for the faint of heart, right? So
that's right.
Let's scroll back.
Let's scroll all the way back. Is that like Friendly Giant? Look all
just
the
like
way up.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. How long do we have? My back hurts.
Okay, maybe are old. Okay.
It's facts.
God knows I feel it. Lots of great people in the chat. So a lot of people that seem to be their first time in there. Huge thanks to them, because definitely great to see a lot of people interacting in this chat. And as someone pointed out, I think it might have been Big Fan 2019. There were some great questions in the chat tonight. As there always are. We get lots of great stuff, but great to have some new people in there. So that was kind of fun.
Absolutely.
Marsha Jackson was in there, a great person, but of course we're not going to be great friends on Friday, but that's okay. But before and after the game, we can all be friends.
11 o'clock on Friday, we're fine. Yeah,
exactly. Big Fan 2019, speaking of him, said thanks for the tacos in a bag on Saturday, better than the ones in the stadium.
Oh, well,
high praise indeed.
I would say that is all on you, Superfan, because you make the most important part, which is the
chips.
Correct.
Excellent.
Yep. That's the part I was just going to say, is that you get the chips. Yep.
Any of the people that in chat have never been, we do have the TV up. We were showing the early game, the Winnipeg Saskatchewan Banjo Bowl game, which is kind of fun. So a lot of people did sort of stop by and look and do a double take and make sure that we were actually streaming a live game while we were serving up some food and having some beverages and just talking some football. So lots of fun there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was awesome.
Let's see here. We already got to some of these here. Nathan Ushatz, I'm going to guess.
Okay. Yeah.
It did say glad T-Biscuit was on time for this tonight. So as were we.
That's where, exactly. Yeah. He squeaked in there right on time. Yeah.
Maybe he and the commission can have a late off. Maybe
Who shows up to tailgate later? Tom?
Hey. Listen.
Oh, I think she's going to call me Linda. What's going on?
No, you don't deserve that.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not getting that. Okay.
I've been swell this year, okay?
Yeah.
Swell indeed.
Swell. I was the first person on besides Andrew today.
That's very true.
There
you
go.
Very true. I'll give extra points
this tailgate, I wasn't late for the game. I just wasn't early enough to get tacos in a bag.
That's true. We did sell it very quickly. We did 48 bags of tacos in a bag. We had many people show up that were a little disappointed at about 4:30 for a 5 o'clock game. It's like we've been here since like 1:15. So
well, no, it wasn't that early.
I
Was
was,
it?
yeah.
Oh, you were? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Ugh.
Yeah, I got there at 2.
Had to
so-
at the team store. There's some cool stuff in there.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't get it, but yeah, I picked up one of the little mini helmets.
Oh, of course. Okay.
With the
With
logo
the
on it.
Indigenous logo on
Oh,
it,
I
or-
forgot something else I just got. I gotta see if I can find this here. Something that the team is putting out, because we always talk about a second Horde and Tell.
Okay,
We
yeah.
always talk about putting out cards. I mean, we went through some of these old cards from
Oh, yeah,
there.
yeah.
But this year, look at these beauties.
Oh, where did you get those?
These.
Or those the ones they were giving out in the kids, the brick
What's the
club or
bottom
whatever?
row?
The bottom row, we've got Aaron Grimes and Mark Cordy.
Oh,
Oh, look at that pose by Courts.
Oh,
I know, isn't that awesome?
freshly signed Mike Cordy.
Absolutely. You know, I only had to elbow 2 kids out of the way to get them, so that was
Is that
not
right?
bad. I thought that was a
Only
win.
elbow? Wow.
You know, how could you not, right?
Yeah. I could just see Mike picking up this kid. No,
He's like, get out of there. Will you sign this for me? But those are available every game. There's
that's what you
10
said to
cards in the set.
Ceresna after, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
in
sure.
that voice.
Why wouldn't
yeah,
I?
yeah, of course. Yep.
You have a little extra one there. Oh, there's the first one. Gino.
Oh,
Absolutely beautiful. All the stats and everything on the back.
Oh,
Just so pretty. Definitely watch for those. They are available at the Kids Corner in every game.
Are they?
You can even just tell them you have a kid or you're a kid at heart, right? So
Do they have like the full set there? Or do
no,
you have-
it's a new one every time, and that's it.
Oh, so if you didn't get one of the old ones, too bad.
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to check around. Maybe someone can pick one up for you or something. So
Okay.
maybe we're down in the scrum. Say, listen.
Listen.
About the cards.
Okay, yeah, that's my first question to Jones next game. So, yeah, I know there was a game.
Yeah,
but
'cause
how do I
that's
get
his
the
decision.
cards?
That's his decision, by the
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Very cool listening to the scrum afterwards, and I'm like, I know that voice.
Oh, that was kind of wild. Hey,
And then who was the one at the
so,
end?
so there was me,
Wasn't
and
Cam
then
Tate, was it?
there was Avery, Cam Tate.
Yeah, that's what I
asked
thought.
questions, and then
And volunteered to be to suit
yeah.
up.
Oh my god, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
so funny. Yeah, I could make myself available. We all laughed. That was very good. And I don't remember the guy's name, the cameraman from TSN, and then Eric from Global was there. And so yeah, Hernan said, would you be able to kind of run it? I'm like, sure. And now that I listen
You did
back,
great. You did
now
great.
see, the funny thing is now I listen back and I'm like, shit, I shouldn't have asked it that way. Should have asked this other question and all this type of thing. But I'll get better at it as you do more of it. And
What
yeah,
you should do is listen to the very first podcast.
yeah,
2015.
Oh no, I don't need to punish myself like that
See?
again. Yeah,
I
I've
said we
done
just
that-
get better and better.
done that before.
I think
sure-
you did great. You did great.
Yeah, you sounded awesome.
Oh, thanks.
You did not sound out of place, that's for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks. You know, one thing I did realize afterwards, and this was from the video you took, Kayla, is that as I was asking the questions, I kept putting my hand out, and it kept getting in the frame of the video. I'm like, crap. You need to, yeah. So, but it was good.
Just
So.
use your left and go to the side.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. I got to stand on.
That's
the
what he
other
does.
Yeah.
So
side. Well played, Super.
well, there we go.
Yeah.
What else we got in here? Coach Vic, this is more for the guys, but I think we could even talk about it. Do you guys know about 1440 and how is having 2 sports radio stations hitting Edmonton work? The thing I like about it is for those people that are not radio people anymore, I mean, I almost never listen to the radio, but it's great to just be able to go to edmontonsportstalk.com, click the listen now, and just be able to hear some of this stuff live and really focused on just Edmonton kind of stuff, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Well, any
absolutely.
podcast, I always listen to the video portion, like on YouTube. I never actually just listen to podcasts. It's always the video.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I kind of go between because when I'm driving, I'll just put on the audio and that'll be good, you know. But yeah, the fact though that I've heard with 1440, it's good, but it's sometimes harder to pick up in certain parts of the city just because of where they record from, right? Like it's outside of Edmonton, right? I believe, and whereas the thing that I like about Edmonton Sports Talk is it's online, so you can wherever.
As long as you got an internet signal, whether
Correct.
that's, you're doing it your LTE or you're doing your
Yeah.
Whatever. Big Fan 2019 also says it's only available Monday to Friday. It's music on the weekends as well for 1440.
For 1440. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting.
It's all good to
Okay.
have.
So
Coach Vic does said it is absolutely fantastic to have this radio programming at our fingertips.
Mhm.
So yeah, absolutely.
and like Dusty said, if they're getting into, apps or other ways to stream and stuff, that's cool too.
Yeah.
That'll be amazing.
Absolutely. And again, they're just going to grow, right? I mean, a radio station's a radio station. You can get people together and they've done it before. You can figure it out, but they're sort of in uncharted territories, running a website and streaming and that kind of thing. So it's very cool. I like having the both options. I think it's great.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And as you just said, Mike, let's go back and talk about the very first episode of the what at the time was the Eskimo Empire podcast.
Right.
In a dark corner in the basement with one
Passing the mic back
laptop and passing the mic back and forth to now live video stream with lights and production and all this. Like, it's
how did you convince people to be like, I want you to come into my basement? Hi, by the way, I'm Andrew. In this
just like
windowless room,
just like that,
in the dark, and I'm going to hand you a mic to talk into.
Here's the thing: when I had hair, I looked much more like a trusting guy. I think that's what it was. No,
especially in the summertime.
Yeah, it's summertime. Yeah, winter.
The fall.
We're gonna have to play that on here one time. It'll
be good.
So I could probably make that happen while we're chatting.
Yes,
I'll see if I can. I can probably make that work. Anyway, funny thing is, in that first year, I got some credibility with having Doug McLean
absolutely
on, right? I mean, that helped
doing the color and everything, play by play for the
because he was known in the sports community, and I actually owe Doug a lot for that, because I would say, I was doing this podcast with, and Doug McLean's part of it and stuff, and people, like people would know. But I think the other part of it is that I would say, hey, I've started this podcast talking about the Eskimos, and would you like to come on and we'll just talk about the game and kind of how this is. And people were like, yeah, actually, I'd love to just talk about it. And then I would say, okay, this is going to sound creepy, but it isn't. Just have it little, it's in the basement, and that's how we record. Right. And it went well. Like the thing is that I was out there being myself on Twitter and talking to people and that type of thing. And then people were like, yeah, okay, well, I'm not really worried, like, whatever, we'll just go. And then after that, it was like, yeah, okay. So like, even when I remember talking to you, Kayla, and
we met her in a pub too. So
we were messaging. We were messaging on Twitter, and I said, do you want to come on the podcast? And then I'm like, yeah, like, we're in this room in the basement. I know it sounds horrible, but we just like to have fans, it was so funny. And I remember for the first probably week and a half, like, before we got you on, I kept calling you Kaylee because you were Kale's D on Twitter at the time. And so I kept calling you Kaylee instead of Kayla. And Mike kept correcting me. It's Kayla. I'm like, oh, damn it, I'll get it right. Luckily, I got it right when you came that night for the show.
And most of the time still does.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah. But yeah, like, it was just one of those things. It's like, hey, do you want to come and talk about the team? And people were like, yeah, sure. And we talk about it for a bit. And I'd be like, yeah, I really like this, and I like this. And they would tell me a bit, and I'd be like, oh, that's a great point. And then, yeah, well, we're just looking for people. And they'd say, sure, yeah, I'll come and sit down and record it with you. And it was pretty cool. I mean, but I like I said, I had Doug, and then Mike, you were listening really early.
Yep.
And so
beginning,
and lots of people know you in the, the EE circles. And so they knew if you were being like, oh no, this is kind of cool, then people were kind of being, okay, it's cool. So I was just super lucky with that and how that built. And then, lucky that I, badgered you until the point that you were back here and became a
I moved back,
which was great. And then I think you and I were lucky in the fact of having Kayla on for 100. And then, a few weeks later, we, message her and say, hey, do you want to meet us at Brewster's and talk about what we're going to do next? And hey, this was born.
And when she came into the basement, she did have a self-defense glitter.
Yeah.
So,
that's it.
so that was
Took
good.
a few classes.
Yeah, my eye still twitches.
Yeah,
it's
just gonna say,
amazing.
your eye twitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a class on like how to throw confetti correctly.
The greatest
Sandman.
the greatest 10-second video of all time.
Yeah,
It's true.
this glitter is embedding in my tear ducts. It was great.
It's amazing. Anyway. All right. What else do we have?
Let's go all the way back here. Leanne is talking about those are the days I smuggled. That's a different show. Those were the days I smuggled a whole tray of Jello shots in. Oh my God!
That
if
was
only a
fun.
photo existed of that. Oh wait,
I think there is one around.
there is one around. It's you and me
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and
at west of us doing Jello shots.
I can't believe we didn't get in trouble for that. It was so funny though.
Yeah, it's like looking anything back at your youth. You're like, how did I do that?
How did I get away with that?
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
Mike,
my
do you
mom's in the
remember-
chat, so I gotta be careful what I say.
That's
what?
fair. Do you remember? What on
Yes.
YouTube? What was that? What was that video called?
What video?
Oh wait,
It's in his bookmarks.
I think I found it. It's okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I got it. Okay. All right. I'll get this queued up. Just hang on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all coming together.
Big Fan 2019 says this may end at midnight, and I just said we got nowhere to go.
Correct. Yeah, that's
Not with those guests on. So.
All right. Okay. Let's go to the next one, and then I will. I'll get this set up just for fun.
Yeah, for sure. Someone was saying to the EST guys that they need Mark Majot on, and Dusty said Majot's on the Hangout on Friday.
Oh, look at that!
So that'll be good.
And his own, he has his own spot too, where they talk about like movies and nerdy stuff.
Right. Is it called Talk
remember what
Nerdy
it's
to Me?
called.
Because it should be. Because if not, they've just missed a huge possibility.
We need to make that.
Maybe in the
podcast.
off season we'll have a Talk Nerdy to Me.
Talk Nerdy to Me. I think I am totally down for this.
Brett Michaels singing the theme song. It'll be awesome.
Oh, I'm in. That's amazing. Oh my goodness. Okay.
You've added a browser.
Shoot.
Yep.
Have you now? Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah. Can you hear that? Yeah.
I don't hear anything, but then again, I'm not on
Okay.
the show.
For some reason, this is. Oh, what the hell? Stop playing. Well, I can hear it. Nobody else can because it's not actually. Yeah, no, it's not.
Well, we can
up
put the
there.
link in the chat. People can watch it at their.
Well, here
leisure.
I'm gonna. Well, I'll play it on here. Just hang on a second.
All of it.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Okay, you ready?
Oh, I was born ready.
Okay. Oh wait, I gotta let it restart. So hang on. Hold on, I got a way to do this. We'll do this.
Are you sure?
That's weird. Didn't. Oh, here. Okay, I've got it running. I don't know if you can hear it. Oh, you know what?
I don't. Oh, I see it on the screen though.
Do you? Okay.
Wow.
Okay, wait. I know why it is.
I'm watching the video and I don't know why anything is.
How do I? Oh, that's the. Oh shit. Now I'm missing it all. Okay.
Oh, that AJ Gas jersey. It's so beautiful.
Right? Isn't it so pretty? Yeah.
Look at that hair.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait. We'll try this.
Summertime.
See if I can make this to work now because it's all right. If we
Welcome to Commonwealth Stadium, the best place to play football in Canada and the home of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Live TV,
It's
folks.
also the home
Live
of
TV.
the
Video
Eskimo
chats.
Empire.
Definitely gonna be
Oh,
midnight.
the
This
video's
league of
not playing,
passionate
or the
fans
sound
loves
isn't
everything
playing
about
through it
the
because I'm not
Eskimos,
getting the
including the
sound.
Green and Gold Gridiron
Oh
Show.
no, it is going.
My name is
going.
Andrew.
It's going
I would
actually
like to be the
on
co-host
the.
of that show.
like on the live
So
stream.
why would you want me as the
I'm
co-host
talking
of the
over
show?
it now, but
Well, I've
yeah.
led Green and Gold for many, many years, so
holy
I'm
crap.
familiar with the
And they've
winning
all gone.
tradition
Yeah,
of the
but
Eskimos
everyone's left,
and the
yeah.
high expectations of their fans. I'm also familiar with
Yeah, it
traditions of
looks
the
like it's
Eskimos
playing
and the
on the
community
screen. Should
and
be.
the connection that gives to the fans.
Anyway,
The Green and Gold Gridiron Show has
can you see it on the
always
screen
been
now,
very
Mike?
respectful
Did it
of
show up?
once an Eskimo,
Yeah, we're talking.
always an Eskimo. And I want to be part of
As we
bringing
should
that
be.
tradition
I
to
think
our
we should be
oldest
talking about
fans and
Yeah.
to our newest additions to the Eskimo Empire.
It's really-
But I'm also familiar with the new parts
yeah,
of this team.
yeah. I
Social
actually
media
had-
has increased the
well, the hair
connection
was
to the
thinning
team
already.
immensely. And the Green and
To be
Gold
fair.
Gridiron Show needs a
be fair.
positive and
Attaboy.
fun person
Yeah.
to interact both
That AJ
on
gas
screen
jersey
and
was
via
awesome.
social
Holy,
media.
it fit me a lot
I
better
talk
back
about
then
the
than
team
it
all the
does now.
time. I may as well do it with more
I'll
people.
tell you that.
I can also
Oh,
provide
we're
a
about to do
lot
all
of
the
different
poses.
looks. From reporting on last week's game to the upcoming game,
I already had a lot of
interviewing with
EE
players
stuff.
or
Holy
coaches,
cow.
or just having fun with the
That's
players
incredible.
and fans.
Yeah.
Basically, what I want
Um,
everyone to know is that
Somebody's
whether
gonna be
it's
watching this and
springtime,
going, what the
You
heck?
have
Summertime.
just a
Summertime.
mustache?
the fall,
No, I have
or winter,
Like
anytime
this
is a
now.
good time to cheer for the
Yeah,
Edmonton Eskimos. So vote
yeah,
for me,
not as-
Andrew
just not
Hoskins,
as
as the
thick.
next co-host of the
Oh
Green and
my,
Gold Gridiron
the
Show.
turn and the
Go Esks!
exposing of the breast area is something else.
That's a lot of different looks.
Oh my, let's turn
That's
that
his
off.
move. Yeah.
I think you probably did it better than I did.
That's
Kayla.
kind of Wonder
good.
Woman-y, but yeah.
It was
Then
a
again,
little.
so
yeah.
was he.
I'm glad I'm blocked.
Just wait till summertime. Yeah, that was the. Anyway, that was the audition video that I did for the Green and Gold Gridiron Show.
I hit like. Does that count as a vote?
Yes.
It should.
Yeah.
It should. So here's the funny thing. That went up on YouTube 11 years ago. Any guesses? Oh, well, you probably just saw it. 41 views.
Well done.
Tell ya.
And 25.
And
of
you were
those
still
are
in the
Mike.
top 3. Yeah, pretty much.
Unbelievable, right?
Every time when it comes over, I make them watch it. So the mailman's really familiar.
Yeah. Amazing.
Just throws my mail and runs.
Anyway, that's some fun from the past. That's
I said you
Wow.
were top 3 still.
I know. I got into the top 3. It was pretty
And would
cool.
you have met Doug otherwise? Maybe not.
No. And that's the funny thing, right? When we got to the final 3, that's when I met Doug. And
2 years later, bam, podcaster.
Correct. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. So
In
kind
the
of fun.
summertime.
Summertime. Yeah. All right. What's in the chat there?
What is in the chat? Tim and Cliff with some great questions that would have couldn't have asked the panel. I think it would have been interesting to hear just with the launch of EST, any worries you'd be looked at differently because some in broadcast radio might not see it as traditional media. And Cliffy asks a question for the panel. A lot of podcasts are wanting to do what you guys are doing. What advice would you give in order to take things to another level?
Ooh,
I don't know.
that's a
We need
great
to have him back
question.
on,
yeah. Yeah.
I think, to ask them
And-
those questions.
And it was one of those things where I saw that there was a bunch of good questions.
Yeah.
And then
We were running long.
but I'm like, oh my goodness, like I know these guys got to get up early,
Yeah.
and I'm not, except for Tom, but I didn't want to. That has to be the joke every time, right?
Yeah.
It's but it's yeah. There's probably other great, amazing questions in there, and it would be interesting to see what they say about the radio and being a different media, because that's kind of how podcasts started too, right? It's like, what's a podcast? Well, it's like a radio
Internet
show,
radio,
but
yeah.
yeah, exactly. So kind of
But
cool
they're
to see.
live though, right? That makes a
They're-
difference. Plus, they have the credentials, right? They were on for years doing A&M Nasty and
Yeah.
and doing all things on 1260, and then again Tom talking about his stuff doing Oilers TV.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very. Oh, this Paul Reckner with making it very funny. First was hashtag Wieners for Kaylee with 2 E's at the end, which was kind of funny. But then I said, yeah, 41 views, and he said 35 of them are me, always for taking screenshots.
Time to make some GIF.
Oh, great! I don't
Yeah.
know why I.
Summertime.
No, summertime is this way.
Right,
Summertime, big.
right.
Yeah,
It's
anyway.
the fall
It's the fall. Yeah. Mhm.
with
Yeah.
mitts on.
And winter.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the mitts on. Yeah.
yeah, classics.
Oh,
Uh,
it's very funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Jen Cool was asking, will there ever be EST merch? And Dusty said, Jen, sit tight. We've got something good cooking.
Oh, I'm excited.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I do want some EST stuff.
Absolutely.
In.
I'm
I'm
Oh.
in on
Oh,
buying.
okay.
What?
I was
I'm in.
waiting for more too. I was like,
I know you guys
NFTs?
paused. I'm like, what? I'm in to get stuff. What?
Yeah.
Like, what? What's going on?
I just heard in. I'm like,
In.
in what? I just want to get some EST
In
stuff in.
In a few weeks when something releases, I am going
Let's
to
go with
buy
that.
it.
Let's
Would
go
that
with
be
it.
better?
Sure.
There you go. You're welcome.
Nathan was asking saying the last 4 minutes of that game, all I kept saying is, "What is going on?"
Yeah. So funny thing, much like you, Kayla, as the clock is ticking down, I moved down towards so there was like 2 minutes left somewhere in there. I moved down so that I could get closer so I can just get out to the
And all
media
the
room.
kids are trying to get there too.
Well, yeah, so I always have to be like, okay, but now the lady at the security lady at the bottom of the stairs knows who I am, so she always kind of gives me the nod as I
Flashing
sit.
your pass.
You're right. And but I moved down and then I sat like about 7 rows up or whatever, and I look over and Matt Ashdown sitting beside me.
Nice.
Hey, how are you?
He's clearly good luck.
Yeah, exactly. And then I moved down a little farther, and then Dean hit that field goal, and I stood up and high-fived everyone around me, and then ran down onto the field. It was like
Should have run down like this.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see him do that. Actually, I didn't know
Ah.
that till after, so it was amazing. Yeah,
It's his heritage.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely, as it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim Capper says Andrew has that video, and I have one of me doing the Harlem Shake.
What?
Oh, well, we need to see this.
Well, I guess I know what we're doing when you come to the Turf District.
Hit a brother up.
That's right. Links can be sent to turfdistrictpod@gmail.com.
Outstanding.
That's the part.
780-218-9999.
Yeah, if you could just text that to us, that'd be great.
That'd
Yeah.
be fantastic.
Yeah.
Coach Vic says we've had so many games go the other way in the final minutes. It was great to have a return. And I think that was
Mhm.
another thing we were talking about at the end is this team has finally learned how to come back and win a
Mhm.
game because they before didn't know because too many times we'd come back and fall short or just not come back at all and just sort of fold like a cheap tent maybe. So that was kind of nice.
Well, and it was not even just one side of the ball.
Right.
The defense got those 2 and outs, like you said. The offense moved the ball, got touchdowns. The special teams got the field goals, right?
Yeah.
Two field goals.
Or returning the punts and everything else because they were 2 and out. So
yep, it was amazing.
hold on to that ball. Leanne, let's get the mama bear going. That Judge guy needs to lay off Trey. Man, that winds me up. Oh my God. Miyagi.
Wow.
Yeah, it was for as much of complaining as I've heard from some Calgary fans. Like that first time the Judge hit forward and suplexed him into a referee. Like, how is that not a penalty? Let alone when we had Bagleton punching a guy and getting 15 yards when Mac for Toronto got kicked out of a game.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's just the consistency. I talked about that with Travis on the 2 and Out podcast this week. Is that the consistency is the frustration, right? Like why? Same thing, but one guy gets kicked out, the other guy gets 15-yard penalty. Well, what's the difference? What's it actually supposed to be? And I do think Calgary fans have a point in the last pass interference that was the Calgary challenged and they didn't overturn it. I thought that one was,
but it's been called against us.
It had, and that's what I was gonna say. Like we've seen
at least there's that consistency. So
yeah, but I get
you'll always focus on your own team, right? So it's
yes.
I mean, for the fans definitely agreed it was pass interference. So I mean, you kind of have to go with that, right?
Yeah. Well,
in the stands, they're pretty impartial.
The stands were totally impartial.
Yeah.
Oh, that's totally pass interference. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever that is.
But well, I guess that's the other part. Yeah. We are all saying, yeah, sure. Pass interference. What is that? Mm-hmm. What's OPI when it takes the guy 30 seconds
Although we got
to throw the flag when he, but I can't believe they didn't throw it the moment he hit him.
Yeah.
Because that took 6 off the board. Like
Right.
Lewis catches that, he's gone.
Right.
Right. And yeah, it took that long to throw the flag. Oh, I almost lost my voice on that one because I stood up. I was so mad. I need to learn to be better though, because I'm in the family section. I didn't use any bad football
Fire
words,
trucker.
Correct. But I did stand up and yell like, "That's OPI!" How could you miss that? Anyway, yeah.
What else we got? Ken says it was nice to see the Elks do the stamps what the stamps did to us the previous week. That is a character building win.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
And I can't wait for this team to play a full 60 minutes.
Hey, Kayla, were you in the chat?
Exactly. Kayla has entered the chat.
Yeah.
And people were talking about Faithful, that he couldn't kick 50 yards. And Ken says, I always knew Faithful could kick more than 50 yards. The question was, could he put it between the posts? We got an answer on Saturday night.
Was it 50?
No, but we knew that he could at least kick it between those posts.
His highest was 46.
Yeah, and he got a 42 and a 40.
And it was a 42 to win it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
46 went in Calgary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So,
but that's just it. Is like, again, he's showing
and tons of leg on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best part of that is as soon as he kicked it, he knew it was in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I loved it so much because he just like turns around and he's like, how's that? Like, it's so great.
Yeah. Leanne said it was emotional from home too. Hearing Morley say "jolly good" got me right in the feels.
Yeah, so cute.
Yeah, I didn't see it until after. Obviously, we were at the game, so didn't get a chance. I like to listen to Ched while we're watching it on TV, but live, it's like 15, 20 seconds back if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I already know what's going on in the field now.
Yeah, but I thought that call by Morley was perfect.
Absolutely. I mean, best in the business, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Morley and Dave. Leanne also says seeing Mike's picture of all the fans of the field at the end. So I stood up at the back and took a picture of all the kids. It is a sea of humanity on there. And you can see all the players out there throwing. Gino was out throwing a little mini football with the kids.
Nice.
Again, people signing things, talking to them, doing whatever, playing catch or tag or whatever. Just amazing how much it really means to those fans. And I mean, Thomas was there with a couple of his friends from school, 2 of the 3 that he hangs out with all the time, and they just didn't stop talking about it after.
That's
how cool
awesome.
it was, right? And that's how you build that fan base. And people always talk about, we got to get the millennials, or now we got to get the Generation Z or whatever. Just build it organically. Have these kids fall in love with, like the 3 of us did, at whatever age, and you'll get them. And if you don't
worry about my generation, we're dead.
Dead inside.
Exactly.
Oh my.
Nathan Ushatz, I'm not sure. I'm probably butchering that. I apologize. Says the missed PAT made me really miss Sean White. Sean White used to miss 3 PATs a year.
Yeah.
And for someone who's in the top 3 most accurate kickers career.
Did he not just miss in the last game?
Sure did.
Yep.
So we all love Money White.
Yeah.
This game reminded me of Sean White's game where he had that walk-off kick in Winnipeg.
In Winnipeg, that was
53-yarder.
Yeah, exactly.
It was 42, but it's you're coming on the field, all the pressure on you, especially having missed that PAT, and nails it through the uprights, 42 yards with that kind of pressure as a rookie.
Yeah,
that was something special.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ken says Dean took a big step nailing that field goal. Absolutely.
Yep.
Big fan 2019. If the Rough Riders lose on Friday, we should shave Lieutenant Eric's head. I don't know if he's going to sign up for that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? We could get a kick return and Chris will shave his head.
See?
Yeah.
All we need.
See?
Fair.
There you go. Sims, though, is there. He almost had that one. I can't remember if it was in the second quarter where he kind of turned the corner and there was only one guy to beat, but that guy got him. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's just get that one quarter and then it'll happen. And that would be amazing. Right. But
to me, it's not even, I love CJ Sims. I think he's got a lot of energy and a great spark, But if you're not getting people blocking in front of you, there's too many times he catches the ball and it's just a sea of the other team in front of him. Like Gizmo in his prime isn't going to be he'd make maybe half of them.
Yeah, he would still make them. Yeah, because he'd hit it, he'd catch it running, and he'd be through that big a crease because he's so quick that the guy couldn't react, right? So,
but I mean, there's one Gizmo, right?
Yeah,
so
there is. Yeah, exactly. He's on the Gremlins. He's amazing. Yeah.
Nathan again saying it's wild to think, what if Ford was closer into the beginning, or what if we held out against Winnipeg? Such a what if season. Again, both of those Saskatchewan games, losing by 1 point in Saskatchewan after giving up the Rouge, 3 cracks from the one, not getting into the end zone, especially after watching Trey Ford in the preseason.
Yeah,
when he just basically high jumped over like people standing up. Just as much as they say Ford just wasn't doing it in practice. I don't remember who was it. Maybe it was JMO. Someone was talking about Andy Moog was terrible in practice.
You're right.
And we're talking a guy that's got 400 wins as a goalie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
playing in front of some pretty good teams, but I mean, even still, like he went to other teams and was still playing just as well. And I don't know.
Do you think though? And I've thought a lot about this. Do I think that it would have been nice to see Trey Ford even just in a relief role in a couple games earlier? Yes,
absolutely.
Right. Because that was when we were coming on here and saying, well, I don't get it. This is the definition of insanity. You're trotting the same thing out, expecting different results. But I do think though, because the way Taylor played at the end of last year, he had the running, he was throwing, it was coming around, he was not doing the interceptions, all those things. Do you know what I mean? Like it was, he did have that growth. And so I could see where, Jones and G-Roy had given him the contract, and I want to give him the chance to work through it.
Yeah, right? I think the contract was a large part of it, right?
I think
he was there.
Yeah.
I think it's just there was too many times we should have put somebody in. Again, Ford wasn't even in the top 3, right? He was still a healthy scratch for most of those games. And then so it would have been like a Seth Dagey or Kyle Loxley or whatever that was going in. It would have been nice to see them rotating that third position so that someone like Ford could have gotten in and gotten some reps. I think the biggest thing for me about Ford is those soft skills. It's not necessarily that he runs real fast or he throws a pretty ball or whatever. It's that when he gets into the huddle, like the energy level is up. Or when he's on the sidelines, when the defense is out there, he's got that energy and he's pacing around like, a caged tiger at this point versus it's like when we had, not that I'm comparing them at all, Ricky Ray and Jason Moss, where you had that fire and ice kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas Cornelius is certainly more laid back and he's very calm and very mellow compared to a Trey Ford, who's more, not necessarily fire, but he's very up and bouncy and everything else. Right. So
fair. Yep. That's fair.
Well, and I don't know. I just think, if and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. What's the point of even
It's true.
It is what it is. Move on.
That's fair.
Trey's in the helm. Let's go.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. It is what it is.
No.
What else we got here? Talking about Dunbar to the 6th game. Ken hopes it will be like another Purifoy. We'll see.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he wasn't practicing at all, and it's ribs. That's a little different than leg.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see.
But put on a flak jacket. Come on. Rub some dirt on it. Get back in the game. I'm just saying.
Lots of us have had back issues and come back.
Right. In the same season.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No.
You know what? I think first of all, he's a high-level athlete, so his healing time is going to be slightly different than yours and mine. But we just need to keep it to the point where we can get on a roll and we can bring him back at some point.
Yeah,
and then just be enhance that offense that's really running well. So,
yep, agreed.
Maybe we'll get some Danny Vandervoort in there. You never know.
Oh, Danny.
I mean, they were both at the time where he was on the PR and Trey being the 4th string guy, they, probably a bit of chemistry going.
Maybe. Never know. Yeah. You really like those redheads, hey? I tell you.
What can I say? Leanne says, Randy McDonald says the whole offense is different under Jackson. Leanne says, interesting to hear the interview with Dean Faithful when he asked how much has changed with the team in the last 5 games. And he said nothing. Just so thankful for Trey Ford and Jarius Jackson.
Wow. Yeah. And you know, like that's the kind of stuff with Dean Faithful. Like,
I mean, there is a difference, but I think it's just, they're just learning how to be the team that they're going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it's just, you can't rush that. It's
exactly.
You can't put a cake in the oven and be like, cook faster.
Well, you can. It won't happen.
I was going to say, it's not going to make a difference, right? So
yeah.
They're going to get there when they get there. So
exactly. Plus, who puts a cake in the oven when you know the embers of the oven?
Yeah,
correct.
Exactly.
Like, come on now.
Exactly. Yeah. We just want to be there when she, puts the icing on. Now that's a bowl you want to lick the batter.
Correct. Yeah, just bring me the spare icing.
Yeah, exactly. Tequila lime.
Yay. Talk about tailgating.
Yeah.
What did you drink? Icing?
Yeah, you shouldn't eat and drive.
That's right.
Yeah, I sit beside her now. Yeah, the game. So sometimes I can see when she's a little tailgatey.
Yeah.
Nathan again says, I like seeing that the team has won a couple and the fans are starting to come back.
Mm-hmm.
People love this franchise, but just hated seeing a string of losses. Nobody likes seeing a team lose. Like we always joke, we're with you, win or tie. And even tie, maybe.
Yeah.
But the fact that we only once hit below 20,000 with a 4-year streak of not winning in front of those same fans, that does say a lot for this franchise.
Sold, not bums and seats, but yes. Yeah.
But we were still, I mean, again, you see it on TV and you're still seeing the east side. I would have a scout from the Elks Horde. I had him send me a couple of pictures of our side and it's full.
Right. Okay.
So there's a lot of people in there and there's people wandering on the concourse and there's people, doing whatever. So there are still a lot of people and they are still coming. So we were still top 3 in attendance last year.
Yeah, but
and now it's winning.
I was gonna say once you get a spark though, and you want to like the one thing I will say is Trey Ford is one of those guys you just want to be in the building to watch.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you have to win, but when that guy takes off
He's
running,
exciting.
It's wild. Like that's crazy, right? So yeah, and you want to cheer for him. Like he's a good dude too, right? So
100%.
Yeah, I think you said that wrong.
Hundo P.
There you are.
There it is. Coach Vic says the defense, this game, the defense still had fuel in the tank in the 4th quarter. And again, he mentions there was 3 2-and-outs to end the game. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, the defense was huge in this game. Honestly, the
offensive line too. I mean, I remember watching the game and it's just like if there's a sack, it's going to be a coverage sack.
Yeah.
Not because they were beating through the line. Now they were rushing 3 a lot. And dropping 9, but still, like before that offensive line was letting people through when they were rushing 3 other teams, including Calgary. So,
yeah, how many is Saskatchewan going to rush this week?
Hopefully none.
I like that.
Yeah, we just run it up.
Yep.
Big Fan 2019 mentions we talked about. I said Taylor Swift should get the game ball. Another Taylor Swift concert contest on the next game.
There is, yeah.
This time in Spain, I think, instead of France.
Well, we're not allowed to say who it is. It's the biggest.
Well, they're not allowed to say it.
That's fair. Yeah, exactly.
We can say whatever we want. We don't work for the team.
Yeah, Swifties.
Would you guys go if you won tickets to
Spain? Yeah, I would. Yeah, wouldn't even think twice.
But would you go to the show, or would you sell the tickets and have an extra $2,000 in your pocket for your trip in Spain?
You know what? I would probably go just for the spectacle of the fact that it's, from everything that I've kind of seen, it would be a good show. Like it's just a one of those entertainment moments, right? You could say I saw this. Like I think I would probably do that. I would definitely consider the selling. Don't get me wrong, because it's worth a few dollars. But yeah, I think it might be worth actually. Like, okay, I get a chance to see this. That's kind of cool.
What are you, Kayla?
No.
Yeah.
No, you'd sell them?
Yeah.
2
I
extra
couldn't care-
€1,000 in your pocket.
Yeah, I couldn't care less about Taylor Swift. No offense, Taylor. I just don't give a damn. So yeah.
I'm
The
sure.
spectacle is in Spain. I will be the spectacle in Spain,
Right.
running around like with that money, and oh yeah. I mean, I'd go for sure. Pick me.
Totally
Taylor can
believable.
shake it off, right? So
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Come on. It's a love story. You want to go see it?
is it?
Oh my god. I'm just so tired. It's like on my freaking Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like my friends talk about it. I'm just like, can you just leave me alone?
They're Swifties?
God, they're everywhere.
Oh, I tell you.
How exciting for you. No,
It's like seeing no, it's not exciting at all.
yeah. Okay. Dare I ask did you find another good Cliffy comment? Or?
No, it's Paul Reckner.
Oh, well, he's got good ones too. Yeah.
He did say hashtag swag Kelly is obs hundo P. And that's why. Right there.
It's got to be time to end this show. Like, actually, let's find something better to end it on. There's got to be a better thing there. Yeah.
Let's see.
Paul is dope.
Paul.
Oh, so this is interesting here. Ken was at practice, as he often is.
Mhm.
Gavin Cobb drew in for the first team offense at practice.
Okay.
So we'll be seeing a little more of G
figured.
Cobb.
Yeah. G Cobb.
Why not?
Ooh, that's a fun one.
Mitchell ran out of the slot, and Moore was still at the wide receiver spot. So
okay. Well, we figured that Dylan would
I think
move
we're going to see him over.
Yeah. So that should be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could be cool.
Absolutely. My goodness. Oh my God. Leanne reminded me the shots of the pictures of us doing Jello shots.
Yeah.
It's a beardless Travis in the background. I
that's
completely forgot he
right.
shaved his beard.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot
Crazy.
about that. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. Paul just put in at the bottom hashtag summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Leanne did say the basement wasn't that creepy.
Well, yeah, she's in the first season, right?
Yeah.
I think, or Leanne, you have to remind me if that was in the first season when we were still in the corner, or were we over in the other room yet? Because that's pretty bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. As I say all of this out loud, I can't believe the show is going either. It's okay. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. I'm still in a basement. It's completely different, but
yeah.
Nobody puts Leanne in the corner, by the way.
That's right.
This particular room actually has windows now. So that's cool. Wow. I've moved
gosh,
up in the
right.
world.
It didn't have windows.
No, it didn't have windows. No, it didn't. No, the old room did not have windows. This one does.
Post-traumatic stress disorders.
Didn't have a dog barking in it either.
No, it didn't have a dog barking in it either. That's true.
Through your window.
Yeah. Nope. It didn't have any of that. Speaking of which, I don't know where my puppy dog is. He didn't come down, which is odd. Anyway. All right.
What else we got here? Lots of people talking about how much they enjoy the show. Absolutely. Those four, anytime.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So much fun. So much fun. The trash talking about the CFL fantasy leagues alone was worth it.
So Paul, after Leanne said the basement wasn't that creepy, Paul said, spoken like someone that was allowed to leave after recording.
Look, the glass case it only fit one person.
It's true.
It's fine. Kayla, you got out. Come on now. You have your own place. Good.
You don't see the scars that
That's fair.
came from getting out.
There's a lot of therapy. Thank God
right.
for glitter.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh my. All right. Have we got to not quite yet? No?
We're pretty close to the end here. Yeah. Tim said, "Don't get me started on the Mac ejection." Ken says there was supposed messaging from the league about punches being ejections. Importantly, the horse had not arrived by Saturday night in Edmonton.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Yep, that's fair. I mean, they were fairly similar when you look at the replays. So,
yep.
But that's fine. They did get the extra penalty out of it, so
they did. But I mean, having him ejected from the game, that's huge.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. Don't tell me that Matt getting ejected wasn't huge. Because holy man, yeah. Number one target. Does he bounce back this week to pull the upset win over Toronto?
That'd be crazy good.
I don't know.
Still got to take your fantasy lineup.
I know. I don't know what I'm.
I would say you should take him.
Yeah. Nope. I'm not telling you anything, you punk. Nice try.
So close. Missed it by that much.
I almost fell for it too. I'm like, wait a second, I'm playing you jerk. Nice try. Yeah, no, I'm not telling you. I'm only going to consult with Paul. I don't know if that'll help me, but I'll consult with Paul. Yeah.
And he is bribable, so that's good.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
So the brisket's in the mail. All right.
Fantastic.
Anyway, I think we have come to the end. Leanne does say we were in the corner.
All right, there you go. Okay, that's what I thought.
And
all
she
right,
lived to tell the tale.
She did. It was amazing. It was so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both for hanging out. Boy, that was a 3-hour show.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It definitely was.
Kayla's tired.
We're all tired.
Channeling my Dusty from an hour ago.
Yeah, he was fading there. That's we got to be nice to him next time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. As Mike said, anybody who's new who is in the chat, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully you'll join us next Tuesday night, where we will have a little bit more fun as we talk about another win.
Like and subscribe.
Absolutely, like and subscribe. Ring that bell.
Drop a comment.
Yeah. Yep. Share, rate, review, all those things. Let people know where they can find us. It doesn't cost you anything. It's nice and easy. Put a comment in there. It's lovely. Thank you so much, Kayla, Duchess Lombardi, super fan at 56 Parkies.
There it is.
At EDM HISTOREE.
There you go.
I tried to rattle that off.
Now at
the Turf. Nice. At the Turf District on all of the things except for Blue Sky, because I put it as Turf District Pod because I don't know.
Okay, I'm googling this nonsense right now.
Oh, we'll get
you gotta have an invite.
We'll get you an invite before long there,
no, I don't even know what it is.
It's another Twitter, basically.
This is nonsense.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. For Superfan Mike and Commissioner Kayla, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.
Oh shoot, yeah.